The release of their son. He's an American-Israeli hostage who's been held in captivity since the brutal Hamas attack on Israel 2 years ago this October. The militant group says it will release Alexander as soon as today. The steep tariffs President Trump slapped on Chinese imports are being suspended. That was the announcement from U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer following weekend trade talks with Beijing.
Today, with this agreement, we come to agreement that our reciprocal tariff rate will go down to 10% on the United States side, so it goes down 115%. We enter into a 90-day pause period for negotiations, which both the Chinese and the United States are very committed to, and the Chinese on their side also go down 115% to 10%, and they remove the countermeasures that they have in place.
Stock futures are sharply higher ahead of Wall Street's opening bell. The number of flights in and out of Newark Liberty International Airport will be reduced for the next several weeks. The move comes after New Jersey's largest airport has struggled with radar outages and a shortage of air traffic controllers. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy appearing on NBC's Meet the Press.
I'm concerned about the whole airspace, right? The equipment that we use, much of it we can't buy parts for new. We have to go on eBay and buy parts if one part goes down. You're dealing with really old equipment. We're dealing with copper wires, not fiber, not high-speed fiber. And so this is concerning. Is it safe? Yes, we have redundancies, multiple redundancies in place to keep you safe when you fly.
President Trump signs an executive order today he says will greatly reduce the price of prescription drugs. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Some big news. Iran is threatening to wipe Israel off the map and destroy America. Now, UN inspectors say Iran is close to getting nuclear weapons, just weeks away. But President Trump vows he won't let them. He's even moved 2 aircraft carriers to the area. This is a big story, and Newsmax's Rob Finnerty is covering it all this week and exposing the real threat. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight for Rob's series Stop Iran and find out Trump's secret plan to fix this. Watch Finnerty on Newsmax on all major cable systems. President Trump says he watches Newsmax all the time. You should too. So download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone and sign up for Newsmax Plus to watch us anytime, anywhere. Millions are making the switch to Newsmax because it's real news for real people.
4 New York Republicans are angry with House Speaker Mike Johnson on plans to expand the state and local tax deduction, also known as SALT.
Their firm opposition in the narrowly divided House spells trouble for GOP leaders as they hope to advance the tax portion of their party line bill for President Donald Trump's agenda through committee this week. Lifting the $10,000 cap on SALT deductions, which was imposed by Trump's 2017 tax law, is a make-or-break issue for several GOP lawmakers in high-tax states like New York and New Jersey who've been negotiating with party leaders on a compromise. But Representatives Elise Stefanik, Andrew Garbarino, Nick LaLota, and Mike Lawler said Johnson and House Ways and Means Committee Chair Jason Smith are proceeding with a policy to lift it to $30,000, which they consider woefully insufficient. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Republicans have also announced plans to cut hundreds of billions in Medicaid spending to pay for tax cuts. News and analysis at townhall.com. Poland is closing a Russian consulate, citing an arson attack that it blames on Moscow.
The shopping centre had housed some 1,400 shops and service points. Many of the vendors were from Vietnam, and it inflicted tragedy on many in Warsaw's Vietnamese community. Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski had previously ordered the closure of the Russian consulate in Poznan in response to acts of sabotage, including arson attacks that he said were sponsored by Moscow. This leaves only one Russian consulate left in Poland, and that's Gdansk. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Ukraine's president has challenged Russia's leader to meet him personally in Turkey on Thursday. Zelensky wants to hold direct talks with Putin on ending Russia's invasion. Ukraine had demanded an unconditional 30-day ceasefire starting today, but Moscow effectively rejected the proposal and called for negotiations. More at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel wishing, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy post-Mother's Day?
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Post-Mother's Day Monday.
All those Mother's Day hangovers. People trudging into work after the big Mother's Day bashes.
I got a feeling if you work in the food industry, you want to sleep in this morning because, Mother's Day is one of those days. If you're at a restaurant, you're busy.
You know, it was weird. Maybe I just hit him at a weird lull.
Yeah.
But me and the kids went to IHOP yesterday, and it was weirdly quiet.
Okay.
No wait. Got our food pretty quick. That was
good. In all fairness, it's Mother's Day. Taking Mom to IHOP.
Well, yeah. Mom doesn't want a Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity?
Just saying, Mom might feel a little. You gotta up your food game when you get Mom specifically for Mom Day.
In this economy, she'll take what she gets. All right.
Happy Mother's Day. She'll take what she gets.
That's right. This Mother's Day, remember, we've got a budget here. Look, I love Mom as much as the next guy, but I mean, it's
don't you be supersizing that meal now.
It's Texas Roadhouse or the lights stay on. You choose.
But I'm just saying, IHOP's a fine establishment. But as far as fancy and trying to, say thank you to Mom, just saying, you gotta do better now.
Hey, nothing says loving like menus you can wipe off.
I need more pictures on my menu.
That's right. I want to go to a place where they have pictures of the food. I want to know what I'm getting before I get it. I need a comparison.
My ice is a little warm. Throw a few cubes in that for me,
Look,
will you?
I'm not saying, take her to McDonald's or whatever. That's first date material. Mom, she deserves IHOP.
This Italian dressing sure is fancy. Hey, it's a special day. Put chocolate chips on that pancakes.
Well, for those of us who are balling on a budget, IHOP is good enough.
No, I get it, and but I'm just saying for the one day, man.
Yeah.
Let's up it. We'll do next Saturday. Rudy Tooties.
Well, you know what my kid's mom got this Mother's Day?
Yeah.
She got a 6-pack of sour cream and onion Pringles snack stacks. That's what she wanted.
Well, she ain't your mom.
No.
She's not your wife anymore either. So you're off the hook there,
right.
dude.
Oh, she got a card. It's fine. She was happy.
Kids up on. That's all you got to make sure the kids do something. And from kids, they can take kids can take your mom to IHOP. Your husband can't take you to IHOP.
Well, yeah, I agree.
If your kids are doing it, then yes, IHOP. But husband, you better up that game. You better something with a wine list.
I question why you besmirch the good name of IHOP, sir. It is not, in fact, a national establishment. It is the International House of Pancakes. And I will thank you to put some respect on their name.
I am, unless you're trying to offer a fancy dinner. I'm just saying.
Was it fancy dinner? This is like brunch at best.
Okay, fancy brunch.
And they have nice pancakes. I had a clip. It was fantastic.
If you can get crayons at the restaurant, it's not a fancy restaurant.
Sir, I take your point and I counter-present Texas Roadhouse.
It's not fancy either.
It's fancy. That's about as fancy as you're going to get in Roswell. We're not talking Cattle Baron. I don't
That's
know.
in Roswell.
I'm not sure what kind of two-income magic you're slinging over here, okay? But
I'm not saying it's not good and everything. I'm just saying it's not fancy. Ain't no one rolling into Texas Roadhouse in a suit and tux. Just saying.
That depends on how fancy you want to feel at dinner.
And I know there's not a lot of establishments in Roswell that have these things, but there are places that are a little more upscale than others. Just saying, when you're showing mom some love, take her upscale. Don't take her to places that you go every day. That's all I'm saying.
Now I back up to that point. You said, not my mom.
And well, that's what I'm saying. Your point, you're good. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're a hubby and your Mother's Day gift was IHOP, you done it wrong, bud.
So you're saying there's a reason I'm single.
I'm just saying your Monday's probably a little rougher than it normally would be.
Oh, don't bring intestinal distress into this.
But hopefully everyone had a lovely and wonderful Mother's Day. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. It was, overall pretty good. Although, some sad news yesterday.
It's about the wrestler you're talking about.
Yeah, Sabu. Only 60 years old. But I mean, in fairness, he put his body through the paces.
As a wrestler career field, that probably is about par for the course.
Well, not even just he was one of those deathth guys. Like
that's about par for the course. Then.
Dudes that would like take light tubes to the head.
Sounds like he was on borrowed time anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness.
But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty decent weekend.
Good. Yeah. Good deal. Yeah, I had a good weekend. Of course, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the bad part of the weekend was the Cavs got smoked on Saturday.
Oh.
And they're down 2-1.
Dang.
All right, so they play tonight. They said, yeah, I think they play tonight.
Nice. See, there's a silver lining on the gray cloud. You have something to look forward to.
If they get smoked again, they looked ugly. That was not a good game. I was like, ooh. That game told me they may not win this series. They looked lackadaisical. And that's 2 out of 3 games they've looked lackadaisical.
Everybody needs a weekend. Maybe they were just enjoying theirs a little too much.
Well, they're going to have to get a whole bunch of golf, and here they keep it up. They're 3 games or 2 games away from golfing for the rest of the year. But on a positive note, speaking of sports, got a Rockets advance in the first round of the baseball state playoffs. So they defeated Los Alamos in 2 games. They came to play.
They really. I was surprised with that first game. I was like, wow, they really did bring their game.
Yeah, they ended it in 5 innings, 15-1 on Friday in Game 1. And then turn around Game 2 Saturday morning and won that one. It was 11-4, I think was the final on that one. Yeah. But in that one, and actually, Los Alamos rallied in the last inning. It was like 7-0 for the longest time, but it was clearly in Goddard's command. So that being said, Goddard does advance to in the first round of the baseball playoffs. Now they head to the tournament in Albuquerque. And their first matchup, let me get to the board.
Let's go to the schedule.
Yeah, they play on Thursday in the next round in the quarterfinals, and they are the 12th seed. And this is odd. The low seeds both won. They're taking on the 13th seed Chaparral, who beat the 4th seed Berlin in a best 3 games. Basically, they went to 3. They won 2-1. Over Berlin. So we got a 12 and a 13 facing off in the quarterfinals. On the other side of on the top half of that bracket, Artesia Bulldogs, they too advanced, beating Bernalillo. That's a 1-16. Artesia's the 1 seed. They beat Bernalillo 2-0. They are taking on the 9 seed Hope Christian that on Thursday as well. So winner of those 2 matchups. So put it this way: if Artesia wins, which 1-9 in theory, that's how that's supposed to go.
Well, except for the first half of this
series. Well, and in the 12-13 here, they will square off. So that's on the 16th, which would be Friday at 12:30. But Goddard will play 12:30 on Thursday. That quarterfinal matchup, we will have that game for you right here on 106.5, audio only again at ksvptv.com. Softball and everything else, they're pretty much all done. Goddard lost in their first round over the weekend as well, 14-3 to Aztec. So Aztec will advance there in Goddard softball. And then I believe, let me see, where's Artesia? What did they do? I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking at the same time here. Artesia beat Berlin 10-2 in their first round. So, the Artesia softball team will take on Lovington, the 3 seed, on Thursday at 9 a.m. So we'll have the Artesia games for you on our sister station, 990 AM KSVP. Audio only again in the Artesia Bulldog channel at ksvptv.com. Joby Hotland, I believe, will be heading up there to call those games. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure Henry's going to be the one heading up to. I haven't talked to the selectors, they got to have the video people and all that, have their meetings and all that.
Right.
They decide who's going. But Henry's been handling the duty, so unless he can't physically go to Albuquerque, I imagine he's going to go up there. If not, they'll send somebody else, or maybe Joby's hitting double duty. It's the behind the scenes part of the radio and all that you all don't see is, every time there's a ball game and all that, there's logistics. You got to get people there. They got to travel. There's a whole thing. And by the way, most of our sports announcers are coaches or teachers or things like that, and they have day jobs. And they just can't roll out on a Thursday to call a ball game at 12:30 in Albuquerque. So we got to finagle. So we'll work on that. But my guess is Henry's going to head up there and call the playoff. Hopefully, we got more than just a Thursday game for you, but we'll find out on Thursday. And but then, like I said, we'll carry every round here for Goddard baseball right here on 106.5. Whenever like I said, the Thursday game, then they'll play Friday against Artesia or whoever they were playing against, and we'll have it all there for you.
Yes, sir.
Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. Here in just a little bit, Matt Bristol with Bristol Law Office will join us for his monthly visit, always giving us good advice on financial and legal matters. They do cross paths from time to time. So we're going to do that. And then in the 8 o'clock hour, Peggy Bowen's going to join us, putting her Camp Invention hat back on. She had her Astronomy Club hat on, I think it was last Monday when she was on. And this week, talking Camp Invention. That's the first week in June. We're less than a month away from Camp Invention.
Yeah, that's fast approaching.
And they are limited to 75 people this year, which is, I think they had over 100 last time.
Oh, they had well over 100 last time.
So there's probably not a lot of spots available yet. So you might want to sign up sooner rather than later.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll talk with Peggy and get an update and all that here. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll have the folks from the Chaves County Health Council join us, give us an update there. Carrie Moore. Believe it or not, they're in full swing planning for the health fair, health expo, back to school bash they always do around
kids are like, no,
I know.
We're not even out yet. I don't want to think about back.
It's like, I got 2 weeks to get out. You can't be. No, they're already gotten you planned. We got plans to put you back in as soon as it's going to be possible.
You get out. We're going to throw you back in there.
That's right. Just when they pulled me out, they pulled me right back in. You bet you were doing that. But anyway, we'll talk with the Health Council folks at the 9 o'clock hour. Plus, we'll have all of your newses of the local and national variety, your Wall Street business updates, sports updates, and et cetera, et cetera.
And I've tracked down a snack for us.
Oh, did you?
At some point during the morning.
I you know what? I've slacked. Well, I meant to bolo and be on the lookout for those cookies.
Let me go ahead and put your mind at ease there, Shug. I got us some.
Nice.
That's right. So the chocolate pretzel Oreos, we can try those at some point.
All right.
During the morning.
All right, let's see. Which one of our guests doesn't want diabetes? All
right. You mentioned Health Council and it instantly sprung in my head. I'm like, oh, yeah, we've got snack cookies.
But first, debauchery of food. All right. So, yes, well, good. I'm looking forward to this one because I ain't going to lie. Chocolate-covered pretzel is a top 5 snack for me.
Indeed.
Like as far as taste, high point, despite mall rats trying to ruin it for me.
I was just say, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Yeah.
Still warm.
My mall rats tried real hard to ruin it for me, but I broke through. All right, it is 7:19. Let's, you know what? Weather's no good. Let me read you the weather because I've been told the weather is not updated. Unless you want to know about yesterday's weather, which we can compare and contrast. But anyway, for today, we are looking at mostly sunny skies and a high of 93 today with south winds 5 to 10 this morning, 10 to 15. You heard me right. I said 93. You're like, wait, well, what happened to the 70s? They gone. We're now at 93. And we're going to be warm all week. Tonight, partly cloudy, overnight low of 65, west winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow, they're going to throw a little wind with our heat. Sunny skies and a high of 94 tomorrow. Winds will be out of the west, 10 to 20 early, 20 to 30 for the afternoon, gusting as high as 45 miles per hour by Tuesday afternoon. Winds continue into Tuesday night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 66, west winds 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Winds will drop down 10 to 15 after midnight on Tuesday. Wednesday, more heat, more wind. Mostly sunny, high of 94. Winds will be blowing out of the southwest 10 to 20, increasing 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy and windy, overnight low of 57. And then Thursday, mostly sunny, 88. They don't talk about wind yet. Give it time there. Friday, sunny and 91. And then looking at the weekend right now, sunny and 92 for Saturday, sunny and 93 for Sunday. So remember spring? That was last week. That was your week of spring. You got it. Here's, we're now sending into summer right now. All right. 9:22. Let's do this. We're going to take a 4-minute break. That includes your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. And then we will talk with Matt Bristol on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good May run this week with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves and yearlings. We expect to sell 800 head, breaking down like this: 75 to 100 weight cows and bulls, 75 to 100 pairs of bred cows, 650 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include 2 young Charolais bulls, Mr. Bill Sims, Hobbs, New Mexico. They are trick and fertility tested. Brand them and turn them out on your cows. 14 cow-calf pairs, excellent quality black and red Angus and Brangus crossbred cows with black and black white-faced calves at their side. Pairs 5 to 6 years old. 12 to 15 other cow-calf pairs, mostly black white-faced with black calves at side. 5 to 10 years old, 71 heifer yearlings, Mr. Kenneth Smith, Inc., Carlsbad, New Mexico. X-quality, 85% black white-faced Angus and Brangus cross heifers. Good flesh, pregged open, right off short wheat, 600, 750 pounds. 44 Ks, Mr. Thomas Richardson, Salt Flat, Texas. Good quality black white-faced, red white-faced English crossbred calves. Cattle wean 30 days, thin condition, 275, 375 pounds. 17 Ks, Mr. Floyd Hancock, Portales, New Mexico. Excellent quality black white-faced, red white-faced English crossbred calves. Cattle wean 90 days, 2 rounds of shots, 450, 600 pounds. 25 light yearlings, Kincaid Brothers, Pinon, New Mexico. Good quality black Brangus crosses. Cattle are weaned, thin condition, 500, 650 pounds. 25 calves, Gary Vega, White Oaks, New Mexico. Excellent quality black white-faced, red white-faced English crosses. Cattle weaned 45 days. 1 round of shots, 375, 500 pounds. 26 calves, Mr. J.B. Runyon, Inc., Hope, New Mexico. Excellent quality black white-faced Angus and Brangus crosses. Cattle are weaned, thin to medium condition, 400, 550 pounds. 21 calves, the Bruton Cattle Company, Hobbs, New Mexico. Excellent quality English crossbreds. 1 round of shots, 400, 550 pounds. And 30 calves, Mr. Jim Espy, Fort Davis, Texas. Excellent quality black Angus cross calves. 1 round of shots, 350, 600 pounds. Sale time this morning be 9 o'clock. Sell pairs of bred cows at 9:30. Be selling calves and yearlings at 10 a.m. Very short on weigh cows and bulls. Be on pairs, bred cows, calves, and yearlings pretty quick. We expect to sell 800 head today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details. 2nd and Sycamore and 1309 Southeast Main.
In a medical emergency, every second counts. Artesia General Hospital's emergency department is open 24/7, staffed with highly trained professionals ready to provide life-saving care when you need it most. Don't wait. When minutes matter, trust Artesia General Hospital. Quality emergency care close to home. Learn more at artesiageneral.com.
If you're a service member, veteran,
or family member who's feeling alone,
whether you're in crisis or not,
don't remain silent and suffer alone. There is help out there.
Talk to someone you can trust.
Free confidential support is available 24/7 through the Veterans Crisis Line. Just text or call 988 and press 1 for veterans. Talking to someone about suicide won't increase the risk of suicide. It could save a life.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Department of Veterans Services, the Department of Health, the NMBA, and this station.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 47.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Is this true? I'd say chances are about 50%. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Bristol Law Office, Matt Bristol back with us. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Mike. How you doing?
Doing great. Of course, you went on walkabout in between the last time we've talked to you here.
Yes.
Had a nice hunting trip for you. How'd that go?
Oh, it went well. Normally we do this the second Monday of the month, but we had to adjust it last month.
Yeah. Feels like it's been way longer because it was kind of, I think, did we move it up a week or something?
I think we did.
I think we did too. So it's been an extra week since we've seen you.
Yeah, so the flight down was one of those classic tales of horror and delays. But once I got to South America, I went to Patagonia and hunted red stag and did a little trout fishing and had a great time.
Nice. So I saw you did catch yourself a nice stag from the trip. How was the fishing?
I fished from the shore. A lot of times they have float trips.
Okay.
And so that's better. You catch more that way. But I had a good time. Patagonia's known for its trout fishing. They have freshwater Dorado.
Okay.
And wild country.
I feel like, and I haven't watched that TV show Survivor in 100 years, but I feel like they did a Survivor or one of those shows in Patagonia. Like one season that was their location.
Oh, I
have to look that one up, but I feel like, and I want to say it's Survivor, but they did one of their out of Patagonia there in South America.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I saw it in April, which is their version of October.
Okay. Yeah, because they're below the equator.
Right.
So the seasons are opposite. When we're having summer, they're having winter.
Yeah. So we get up in the dark and hike out in the dark and look for the stag and come back and lunch.
So right now, is it kind of like their fall where it's our spring? So the weather's probably similar. I mean, some vegetation's different, but temps and stuff might be in the same ballparks right now.
They said often there's snow on the ground in April.
So they have a cold spring.
Yeah, so they have a cool winter. Yeah. The matter of fact, one of the little towns near there is known for skiing, snow skiing. And then one of the funny things happened was we were driving. You hunt till dark, and then you walk to the truck, then you drive back, and there's one other hunter from North Carolina, and he's just now getting into hunting.
Gotcha.
Whole life, never took a vacation, went anywhere, and so last year he's getting into hunting, and there's this bright star on the horizon, and he asks our outfitter, he goes, "Hey, Denton, is that the North Star?" And I'm like, "Hey, Chris, we can see the North Star of the Southern Hemisphere."
It's like, it's the South Star.
I should have,
yeah. People don't forget that. Your view. Think of it as a big airplane, and when you move around in the airplane, your view out the window is different.
Exactly right. Yeah,
and that's how space is. You're down in South America, your view out the window is a little different than it is when you're here in New Mexico.
Yeah. I did see Orion. That was constellation Orion.
Gotcha.
And it had clouds and rain. Didn't get to see the Southern Star.
Is it
Southern Cross
enough out away from the lights where you could get a good, clear view of the night sky and all that?
Yeah.
Kind of like when you get out in the desert around here.
Yeah. It was way out in the boondocks. There's hardly any light interference, and they're known for UFO activity, in fact, which I thought was interesting. And then my outfitter had a video of some funky lights that he took, and they were doing weird stuff.
Wow.
Not moving like an airplane. But yeah, so I didn't realize they had UFO activity down there.
And unlike here, I feel like they don't have an extensive secret lab of working on military secrets.
Right.
Where that's just the military testing their new toys out there.
Probably not.
I feel like the Patagonan Air Force or whatever is not working on things like that.
So guess what the exchange rate is? Money exchange rate.
Oh, I'm sure it's ridiculous. What is it?
It's 1,000 to 1.
Wow.
But everything there costs just as much as it costs.
Well, I was about to say, you want a soda? It's $4,000.
Yeah. So you really don't save anything on the exchange rate. But it's pretty wild. People carry wads of money.
Wow.
Huge wads of money.
That's crazy. That kind of reminds me of the whole dinar thing where they talk about, like, I don't know if you ever heard these, where they, back when Iraq and Kuwait going on, they say buy the dinar. And right now it's like worth nothing, but when they revalue, it'll be worth $3. And there's people that, shoot, I've got family, I've got something sitting there. Just someone told me to buy it, so it's sitting in a thing years ago. It ain't gonna make me any money, but it's nice to, it's fun to play with. Fun to dream, thinking one day, everybody in Iraq's gonna suddenly figure it out, and their dollar's gonna be worth revalued to some whatever. But that's what it reminds me of. Is it sounds great, 1,001, but you try to buy something there.
Well, if a burger here costs you $10, down there costs you 10,000.
Yeah.
So
now, were they? Because I know a lot of countries like this. Yes, you want to exchange the dollars to their dollars, but sometimes you just hand them an American $10 bill. They'll be happy to take that off your hands. Usually, is that the case down there?
Nothing smaller than a 50.
Okay.
And I thought the smaller bill would be more liquid.
Yeah.
But the banks won't take them.
Interesting.
So nothing smaller than a 50. And they'll give you change back in Argentine pesos,
Gotcha.
which is fine.
And I'm going to take a stab that because of your nature, your trip, you've got to have cash. There's not a lot of electronic exchanges of currency going on there. You know what I mean?
Well, not at hunting camp.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you need cash. You can't get away with just keeping the credit card and, letting it do the exchange and all that kind
But when you go through the airports, they'll still take dollars or Visa.
Yeah.
Spend a day in a little town near there, and they take Visa or U.S. dollars, and you get your change in pesos.
Okay.
But it has to be like they want brand new, crisp money.
Gotcha.
Even if there's like just a little bitty pinhole in it, the banks won't take it.
Wow.
They can't have any, tears or marks.
I guess they don't get reimbursed for it if it's that way. Is how that works?
I
don't
think
know.
they're just worried about counterfeiting, probably. So they want a really pristine
They don't know it. We just harden our money sometimes. You seen what people do with money? Watch my movies and TV.
Every place is a little different.
Sure. Of course, down there, I imagine, if you're getting married, unless you brought it with you, whatever there's exchange and all that's going to be crisp and clean and all that good stuff. So, anyway, but sounds like you had a good time. Sounds like it was a lot of fun. And
yeah.
And when's I'm sure you already got a next trip on the horizon, kind of percolate now.
Oh, not this year. I'm pheasant hunting in December probably, but no overseas trips this year.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna be eating good this winter. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, pheasant's good stuff.
It is. For folks not familiar, Matt joins us each and every month, and we talk really at the end of the day. He's coming in to cut into his own business. That's that's the way I look at it. Is he gives you advice on things to really avoid spending maximum amounts of time and money dealing with a guy like Matt Bristol.
Basically,
there's and we go from everything from family law stuff and financial planning stuff to business and financial legal protections and even into, we don't get into accountant work here, but we tell you to the point, all right, at this point you need to see an accountant about that.
Oh, yeah.
This is what the lawyer can do at this point at that, to that thing. And so that's what a lot of our conversations are. And today's kind of fits right into that. This is kind of a catch-all, be-all. These are dumb things that people do you should stop doing.
Yes. The older I get, the more important I think it is to avoid the wrong answer instead of just knowing the right answer.
Right.
Because once you get the wrong answer, now you're behind the 8 ball.
It's a lot harder to fix it.
Yeah. So avoiding bad decisions is more important than making the right decision.
And really, that's a lot of what our conversations are each month. Is just saying, hey, if you do this, you're obligated to do this. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. And that's kind of where we're at. And so yeah. And each one's sometimes it's business world, sometimes it's home stuff. We talk a lot about wills and who gets what when what happens and things like that. That you got to do that right, because if even with the best intentions, and even with everyone on board with those best intentions, if you don't do it right in a will or do it that way, your best intentions aren't what's going to happen. You know, you see, like, and this is, and I'm not recommending this service, but there is a commercial for like one of these online, you know, will kind of places, and they literally say that there's the guy with his son, and he's got the classic car, and he's like, "This is yours someday," and the whole, no, it's not. And that's, I mean, like I said, that's accurate. You know,
is accurate.
And
Yes,
so
it
that's
is.
why we say you've got to be specific in these wills and things, and do it the right way. Otherwise, what you're trying to do may not be what happens. So that's what we talk a lot about.
Yeah, and so I think that needs to start at an early age, making, you know, good decisions, avoiding bad decisions. You know, so for youngsters, young adults, with your very first job, is you figure out how to save 10% in the retirement plan or whatever. And if you don't have a retirement plan, you can start your own. There's a lot of brokerage places online. But if you just start out with your very first job with 10%, then you can stick with that percentage for the rest of your life, and you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. You'll be more than fine.
But too often we see people, you know, they buy a car or a truck.
Well, and that's life's about choices, and you know, discipline. When not, you know, that's the big juggling of life here sometimes.
Yeah,
and yeah, and when we're young, we want the latest bells and whistles and the coolest gadgets, and so we get our first paycheck, and the first thing we think of is, what cool thing can I buy with it?
Exactly.
And I get that, and I understand it, but you don't have to spend the whole paycheck on it. Maybe say, all right, let's save up for the cool thing. Let's put, like you're saying, 10% back for a rainy day.
Need to pay yourself first.
Yeah.
You just stick with that 10%. Start that way, the very first job.
And to be honest, if you're young enough where you're still kind of living under your parents' umbrella and you don't have things like rent or a mortgage or a car payment, or, you know, some of those things that your parents are generally covering for you right now, that's the sweetest time to save more. If you can up the 10%, because, you know, and to be honest, you should be saving for more, because that 10%, like you said, someday you're going to want your own car. You're going to want to have a home. And those aren't free. And if you're already saving now to set the table for that, that's where you go there. And so you can set separate funds. One, this is the rainy day fund. All right, I'm going to put 5% here for house fund or car fund or whatever it is. You know, that's I know that sounds nerdy, but to be honest, that's how people succeed. And people, you know, people that are well off financially, it's they sacked away, they saved, they didn't blow it all. They aren't spending $6 for a cup of coffee.
That's right. So the difference between rich people and poor people is rich people buy assets and poor people buy debt.
That makes complete sense. Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, you get an expensive car, expensive house payment, more house than you can afford. You know, you're buying debt. That's what you're doing. So kids, you know, if you spend $40,000 on a car, well, there's what's called a lost opportunity cost. Because once your money's going one place to the car, it can't go anywhere else. So there's a lost opportunity cost there. So if you just taken that $40,000 and you invested it, and come back in 25 years when you are your parents' age, that $40,000 turns into $400,000. That's the lost opportunity cost of a new vehicle.
Yeah, and that would have been a lot of money that could have gone a long way in other places later down the road.
Oh yeah, well, and you figure 4 or 5 cars during a lifetime, and husband and wife, and now you're talking real money.
Yeah, you don't realize what you spend, and sure, there's people that say life you only live once and all that, and so and I agree with that. Yeah. But that's the rub. That's the balance. How do you keep doing that all your life instead of a portion of your life? And ideally, every parent wants to leave something for their kids. They want to leave, at least help keep their foundation, and you can't do that when you're spending as fast as you're getting it.
That's right. But unfortunately, that's what we do. I got a raise. Now I can spend it on something. That's our first thought is, well, I can afford a bigger car payment. Yeah. And you got to break that habit, kids. You really do.
Yeah. Or if you're doing it, you do it in a responsible way. You know, because I'm the same way. You know, I'm like, hey, I want this thing, but I don't do it until the the situation is good for me to do that, if that makes sense.
Well, this hunting trip that I took, I saved my money in advance to go on it.
Yeah.
I didn't put it on a credit card and then make payments.
And that's the beauty of when you're responsible for it. And so really, if you're 16, even if you're starting that summer job, I know it sounds nerdy, and I know you're 16 and you got everything in front of you and you've got 100 years to live and all this other thing. But believe it or not, just if you could 10% of each paycheck, put it in your parents' savings. Hopefully you got your own account, but put it in something and don't touch it.
Yeah, I've heard Robinhood will take very small amounts and invest it, $25, $50. So when you're in your 20s and you're thinking about getting married, kids, there's a good book called Smart Couples Finish Rich. And it talks about money and saving money and overpaying. But it needs to be a conversation between the newlyweds or soon-to-be newlyweds.
Well,
before you get married, talk about money.
Most, and I'm not getting into counseling here, but I'm telling you right now, most marriages in those first year or two don't work out. Usually it's money. Money is one of the big the divisive parts there in the marriage.
Often a fight about money, but somebody doesn't have a rent payment. I mean, that's money that should go into savings right there.
Yeah.
So when you talk about money, the goal should be, can you figure out a way to live off one paycheck? And so a lot of times that means car payment.
Certainly not 2 car payments.
Certainly not 2, but buy a nice used car, pay it off in 2 or 3 years. And
I got to be honest, my wife and I, and I've done a lot of dumb, wrong things, but I've done a few right ones too.
Me too. Yeah.
And I will tell you, the first years of my marriage with my wife, she had this Ford Contour that she was trying to get rid of so bad. And I was like, Kim, that's paid for. I was still driving my piece of junk, beat up LeBaron from the military that was nice in 91. It was not so nice in 2000.
Yeah.
But it was, I think it was at least 6-7 years into the marriage before we were paying a car payment.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We were driving beaters.
Yeah.
Now the floodgates open since then. But when we were, Kim was like this, and she's like, and then we were talking, and they were pulling the hard move. She'd go get a taillight fixed, and they were trying to sell her a car, and she'd get, really, no.
Yeah.
And I know it kind of, but you know what? Now we're way better spot.
Yeah.
We're not by any means millionaires, but you know what? We're all right. Well, we can weather storms. If stuff got bad, we're good for a bit. We can stay afloat. And that's because we were smart early.
That's right. You were. Yeah. Now, for me, I'll buy used pickups because they last longer than cars. But for a 28-year period, I only had 2 pickup trucks. So I drove them until they were old.
Yeah.
And I essentially had 25 years of that was no payments at all. I banked all that money. So it does work, kids, and you need to think about that kind of stuff.
And you don't realize, when you buy something like that, and like you were talking earlier about you buy a truck and this is what you end up paying for it at the end of the day. With these interest rates and things, you're making a $400 payment every month for 5 years, and there's a 10% interest rate, depending on when you bought it. It could be as little as 0, most probably not recently, but as high as 8, 10, 12%. And you tack that on, that's thousands of dollars in extra money you're spending on that. And when you look at, I'll just say this, you buy it, you look and you say, oh, and I'm going low. Oh, look at this truck here for $40,000. I'm going low because they about double that, but
some are,
yeah. Oh, great! I can get, but at the end of the day, you're probably going to pay $60,000 for that truck.
Same thing with a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah,
you'll end up paying 3 times the purchase price because of the interest.
And so we kind of the tips and tricks, and that's what. And life happens. You have to finance things. No one's got $300,000 in their pocket to go buy a house. That's just not how life works. Or $50,000 to go buy a car. That's not how it works. But the trick is how you finance it, when you finance it. And you know what? When it comes to real estate and homes, there's no penalties generally for paying things off early. The thing is, depending on your mortgage, but 9 times out of 10, there's no penalties for paying off your home early and things like
right.
that.
And so there's two ways to do that.
Yeah.
One is get a 15-year mortgage. And if that turns out that the payments are too high, then you're buying too much house. You know, I mean, you got a 3-year-old kid, they don't care how many bedrooms in the house.
Yeah.
So get a more modestly priced house, pay it off in 15, then move up. Or if you got a 30-year mortgage, you can talk to the lender and say, what would it take per month to pay this off in 20 years? And they can calculate it for you. It's usually, you know, $150 around that extra per month.
So in essence, you're cutting the interest in half, basically doing that. You know, and so that's a smart way to do it. So if your mortgage is $800 a month, if you can afford $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month, you're cutting into that principal pretty quick doing that.
You know? Yeah, so you're saving 10 years for the house payments essentially, and for a modest $150 a month. And then anything over that, probably you should start investing. So, you know, with the internet, kids, you go online, figure out some place to invest your money. Even if you're a minor, you know, mommy and daddy can set up the account, and you can be a co-owner and buy something. Google, Amazon.
Plus, it's a good, you know, parent family kind of learning lesson and teaching them money, and then, oh, by the way, you're setting your kid up for their own little nest egg to get started in the world.
Yeah, so develop the mindset of, you know, purchasing assets, things that grow in value. Don't buy debt. Cars are debt. Too much house is debt.
I got to be honest, most things you hold in your hand and all that, that's all debt. I mean, unless you've got, you know, diamonds and things like that, but even that's a game. You know,
really
I mean, that's you know, like gold and stuff. Yeah, you have a portfolio, a little gold in it, but you know, if you got a basement just full of gold and that's kind of not practical either.
No, sure not.
So I mean, there's different ways to do these things, but generally speaking, you know, I wouldn't. Okay, and then this is buying collectibles and things are not investments. If you're looking at it, I mean, the rarity of them actually really being invested is slim to none. So if your baseball card collection is not going to be your nest egg.
Right. And in the beginning of the pandemic, they had NFTs, right?
Yeah.
And those aren't worth jack now.
Yeah. I mean, yes, diamonds and gold, they're substantial, but they fluctuate in value. And like I said, they're kind of heavy. You can't just walk around with a wallet full of diamonds.
Well, if you look at inflation-adjusted dollars, gold was worth more in 1982 than it's worth now.
Yeah.
So it's really not a good investment.
Yeah. But, I mean, sure, if you're diversifying portfolios, throw a little in there for whatever. But anyway, those are discussions you have with your financial people. But that's kind of what you're saying is don't buy debt. And yes, cars and houses are debt, but guess what? Things that you think are assets are debt too. You know, and collectibles, things that you think are going to make you money down the road, 9 times out of 10, it's just a debt. If it's something you got to sit on a shelf to look at, probably not going to be an asset.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So avoiding wrong decisions is if for some reason, you know, you got a big bill that comes up, maybe it's a major auto repair or some big bill comes up, and people borrow against their 401k to pay debt. That's not a good thing, especially credit card debt. That's not a good thing because your money's not in your 401k working. Sure. You took it out.
It's there for a reason. It's there so you don't spend it and do things, and then when you're ready to retire, it gives you the money to live the rest of your life with. If you want to steal into that to pay now, you're selling yourself short.
You are. So in the state of New Mexico, there's certain assets that are protected from creditors because we want to guarantee our citizens a minimum standard of living. And most of those things have dollar limits. You can protect so many dollars worth of house, so many dollars worth of car, except retirement has no cap.
Oh, okay.
There is no maximum amount you're allowed to have. It is unlimited. You could have $500,000 in that retirement account, and a credit card creditor cannot touch it.
So it is your safe space.
Yeah, it is very safe.
It's your big vault in the sky that no one can penetrate without you letting them in.
Without you letting them in.
Yeah.
So that means you don't borrow against it.
Yeah.
You're going to be your own worst enemy.
Yep, it is, and so that's why you're so, you know, houses come and go and things, but your retirement that's there forever, and if you steal that, it's hard to replace and recoup that. That's the other problem is you've spent years building that up, and you're using it to solve a problem now, Great, that problem solved now. What are you going to do 20 years from now when you don't have the money you thought was going to be there because you used it to fix this situation?
Yeah.
And you can do it, but you're going to have to hustle now. Now you got to hustle. Now you got to maybe do things in the stock market that you weren't comfortable doing and things like that. You're going to have to get aggressive. That's, you'll talk to any investor, and like if you're young, they recommend you can get a little aggressive. You can be a little, because you've got room to if you do fall to get back. But if you're in your 40s and your 50s and you start playing that game, you got to play it as safe as possible, because every loss is a big loss. And so they're going to put you and steer you into places that are more safe to invest in, where the reward's not going to be as big, but the risk is certainly not as big either.
So educate yourself, or get a financial advisor. I like educating myself, because that way I know whether I'm getting decent advice or not.
Sure. I like to do the theory of when people tell you things, say, oh, that's a good idea, and then go do a little reading on your own and see if
research it.
That jives.
So from 1900 till now, that's 125 years.
Yes.
If you pick, so they're called rolling 20-year periods.
Okay.
1900 to 1920, 1901, 1921, 1902, 22. So they're rolling 20-year periods.
Okay.
So in the last 125 years, in how many of those rolling periods has the stock market lost money?
Obviously you look at the Depression era there, and you're thinking, and then there was, but I'm going to take a stab at the end of the day, probably zero.
Zero's correct answer.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, they've ebb and flow, but when you take in a 20-year thing, it corrected itself and boosted, and every year it's gone and grown. Because, and if you look at the stock market number, the number we're looking at today, look at that 50 years ago, it's a lot bigger number.
It's a lot bigger number. Oh, yeah.
and it's been, so, yeah, I think over 20, that makes sense. So, just kind of think, yes, we've had those depressions, we've had a couple Black Mondays here and there, but it's all corrected itself and grew in that 20 years.
That's right. There's no 20-year period the stock market has lost money. So as long as your time horizon is more than 20 years, pick a quality stock. Can you pick the wrong stock and lose your money? Oh, yeah.
Well,
but pick a good company.
The people this is the trick to it. It's, your day traders and types, they're the ones that they're doing this for a career. And they're constantly watching the moment those things change. They're buying, they're selling, they're moving, they're hustling, shaking. 99.9999% of us don't have that kind of time, desire, or energy to do those kind of things. So you kind of put the money in, you let a guy, and you say, all right, you check out. And that's what you're talking about is, get the right people you trust to do that. Yeah. Now, if you're looking to have fun in a stock thing, there's nothing wrong with that either, as long as you set limits, play by your own rule, don't get yourself in trouble. Maybe, we were talking about disposable income or whatever, and people want to go on a trip. If your bag is, I want to play the stock market, God bless you. Just do it right. And, it's like casinos. You walk in there, you say, I'm going to spend $100, and you blow your $100, walk out after the $100. It's no different in the stock market. I'm going to invest $1,000, I blow the $1,000 and walk away.
Yeah, if you're going to gamble, have a specific, 5%, 10% gambling amount, but no more.
And we've all seen the movies and the buy, sell, high, low, and they think it's this sexy lifestyle. And no, that's a work, and that's a headache and a nightmare, and those are hustlers. And at the end of the day, some are going to do well. A lot of them are going to.
Most of them will fail.
We'll be back, trying to do stuff.
So if you've got a 401k, that's usually limited to mutual funds, not individual stocks. So you can buy a stock index.
Sure.
Get an index fund, plow your money in there, big time.
And a lot of times, like you work for certain companies, they offer these kinds of things, and you always take them and use them. Yeah. But also, that's eggs in baskets. You don't want to put all of them in one. And so you got your 401ks. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm going to start my own IRA over here, or I'm going to, start whatever, whatever path. Buy a little gold. I'll throw it over here. Okay, great. Whatever that is, you diversify, is what I'm saying.
There's a lot of companies. So like Wells Fargo, Pepsi, Walmart, if you're an employee, they'll let you buy company stock through payroll deduction.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why wouldn't you do that?
Absolutely. It's a bet on yourself and the company, and when they make money, you make money. Good thing.
So you got your 401k going, you got some payroll deduction going, and So pretty soon you're a capitalist.
That's how it works. I know we kind of got up, but it's been fun. It's just all the time. We got about 5 minutes before they kick me off to the top of the hour here.
So yeah, another, don't do dumb stuff is I've seen elderly couples who've, even as elderly couples, they didn't learn how to handle money. They never had a written budget.
Not all old people are smart. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've run up this credit card. You got $20,000 of credit card debt, and then they start borrowing money against the house to pay the credit card debt. Well, that's just silly because they're addressing a symptom, not the root cause. And the house could be protected in a bankruptcy, get rid of the credit cards in a bankruptcy. But once you get a home equity line of credit,
right,
that's a lien against the house. Yeah. And, that money should be used for necessities, not paying off credit card debt.
Absolutely.
And it just breaks my heart when I see people do that, because as soon as they pay off that credit card debt, guess what they do? They run it right back up.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. It's no different with debt consolidation and all that.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful tools until you start accruing more debt because you're paying down, and now you're back to where you started again. And that's yes, these are great tools if you're disciplined. And that's when it comes to the financial world, you want to do okay. It'll work if you're disciplined. If you get fast and loose, you will lose fastly and loosely.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
You will. So it's discipline, and which is developed over time, and it's a want to. You're going to have to want to find that discipline.
And that's kind of the we were talking about as you get older and more things, and then once you've built a good financial foundation here, and that's when you get to make the freedom of playing a little bit. When you've earned it, you're saying, you know what, okay, now I'm going to take that trip, or no, you know what, I'm going to invest in that weird thing a little bit just to see what what I mean. It pan out, you never know. But if I lose out, no harm, no foul. It was a fun little risk. You're better prepared to handle those things. And nothing wrong with taking risks sometimes, but make them calculated.
Be smart.
Yeah.
Be smart
Just
about it.
don't jump off and the guy says, "Yeah, I put a parachute in there." Don't do that. Check.
Yes. So do your homework before you start gambling with your money. But just try not to make the wrong decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. We got about 2 minutes here. We got time for some fact or fiction or anything like that?
Yeah, it may not take up the whole 2 minutes, but we'll take up some of the time. So on the moon, the phases of the moon, we have a full moon and we have no moon. And what's in between?
There's crescent moon.
Crescent moon.
Yeah.
So all the phases in between is crescent. And that has something in common with the words ascend and descend.
Okay.
It's that SC in there.
Okay.
So the reason it's called crescent is because it's moving from one phase to the other phase.
It's like ascent, descent, same.
You're moving up, you're moving down. There's motion. There's this, and same thing with the word iridescent. The colors change.
I gotcha.
They're moving.
Okay. So it's a movement word.
It's a movement word. It means that there's moving going on. And which I think is really interesting when you get to the word discern. You have to discern between things.
Okay, so it's a choice or moving between this path or this path.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
It is neat.
To think about the movement.
Those Latin guys knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Yes, I just think
those
that's
guys
cool.
Remember this Latin language. They sure know what they're doing.
Yeah, I just think that's cool.
It is neat. I love those that's everything begats a thing, folks. And that's the life everything you think's new and this, guess what? There's probably a thing that begat the thing, and the thing had this is that, and you don't realize how reciprocal, things come around and go around in life.
Yes, and
the words kind of prove it.
And if we still had those great big dictionaries, they tell you where all the root words come from.
Yeah.
The Latin or German or wherever, Greek, and they'll tell you, the prefix and suffix and what all those things mean. But nobody uses those big dictionaries anymore. Kids aren't learning.
Yeah. Get the Merriam and Webster not happy. Folks, if you've got any need for legal services when it comes to, of course, family law, financial law, things like that, Bristol Law Office can help you and navigate through there.
Yes.
And the great thing about it is you have a conversation with them first, and then we say, okay, you just do this. You don't need me. Go do this, and you'll be fine. Or no, we got to sit down and plot and plan. But you're up front. You're very much, if you don't need a lawyer, Matt will tell you real quick.
Yeah.
You don't need a lawyer.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So 625-5284, BristolLawOffice.net.
Yeah. And
cool.
Very good. And I imagine if you're looking for some hunting locations, give them a call. Be happy to share some with you, too. Matt, as always, welcome back. And glad you had a safe trip. And
thank you, Mike.
And as always, appreciate the visit. And
Enjoyed
I guess
it.
now stay cool because we're going to be in the 90s all week. So.
Yeah, well, at least the air conditioning is working. So
you know what? This is
goodness.
very comfortable in the building. It was not so much probably when you were gone for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico.
Chinese officials say they have reached a deal to roll back most of their recent tariffs and call a 90-day pause. The Trump administration says it has agreed to drop its 145% tariff rate on Chinese goods down to 30%. Wall Street, the Dow is up more than 1,000 points at this hour. The Nasdaq ahead by nearly 3.5%. Ukraine accuses Russia of an overnight drone attack, while Ukrainian President Zelensky is hoping for peace talks with Russia's Vladimir Putin later this week.
There has been no response from the Kremlin on the overnight drone blitz. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in a Sunday night video address he hopes for a ceasefire with Russia and challenges Vladimir Putin to meet him for face-to-face talks in Turkey this week. He says, I'll be in Turkey this Thursday, May 15, and I expect Putin to come to Turkey as well. Personally, and I hope that this time Putin won't be looking for excuses as to why he can't make it. I'm Charles Stiladesma.
President Trump could soon receive a luxury jumbo jet as a gift from Qatar. ABC News reports that Donald Trump wants to use the aircraft as Air Force One while in office before transferring ownership to his private presidential library. More at townhall.com.
Mike Gallagher here, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. If you know me, you know I only put my name behind people and companies I trust. When it comes to mortgages,
here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Listeria outbreak linked to ready-to-eat food products, and a producer is voluntarily recalling several items. The FDA says it's investigating the outbreak linked to foods produced by Fresh and Ready Foods of San Fernando, California. The FDA says the 10 people sickened were in California and Nevada. 6 of them had to be hospitalized. The agency says the recalled products were sold in Arizona, California, Nevada, and Washington at retail locations, including at hospitals, hotels, convenience stores, airports, and by airlines. I'm Julie Walker.
On Wall Street, once again, stocks are much higher this morning as a result of a trade reset with China. News and analysis at townhall.com. Pope Leo XIV delivered his first Sunday blessing from St. Peter's Basilica, speaking in Italian. Dear brothers and sisters.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buona domenica.
This New Yorker was in St. Peter's Square for that blessing.
It's a thrill to be here in order to pray for the Holy Father, to be with the crowd that's supporting him with our prayers, to wish him well, and we look forward to his papacy.
President Trump is about to sign an executive order that, if implemented, could bring down the costs of some medications. The order that he's signing at the White House this morning will direct the Department of Health and Human Services to tie what Medicare pays for medications that are administered in a doctor's office to the lowest price paid by other countries. Pharmaceutical companies are sure to oppose. More at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The Travelician, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Yes.
I know it's Monday. It's not fun to say, but
yeah.
If you like hot weather, this week, good week, man.
Hey, if you like heat.
If you like the 90s, man, because I know people around here, they ain't happy unless it's 90. I know there's folks around here. I didn't grow up in that world, but I know people that have, and I know so many people. Nah, I love it when it's 90.
I screwed up, man.
Yeah? What'd you do?
Yeah.
You went to IHOP?
Still on that?
No, I just thought that
was just my kids, man.
That was just a callback for fun.
They got Mom got the morning off. That's what she got. No. Okay, so I have weeding I need to do.
Okay.
Pretty bad, actually.
Did you get a weed notice?
No, I've got a weed. No, yeah, I've gotten
a notice. That's
a notice. Yes, yeah. So I have all the equipment, all that. I've gotten like part of it done. But there's this one spot in my house where like the AC and the fan hit. I call it the cool vortex.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect spot when it's really hot. But when it's like nice out, it's just like awesome.
Okay.
I didn't do what I needed to do this weekend, so I'm gonna do it this week. But I waited until the heat wave came
instead of doing it in the creamy 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing it in the hot 90s.
Procrastination, kids, just don't do it.
But you have kids. But they're not quite old enough.
No.
See,
You know what's funny is one of my kids is old enough, but just isn't.
Yeah.
Like she's not gonna.
Sure.
The other one, not old enough, but super eager.
Good.
He's like, hey, I'll help you, Dad.
That's
I'm
cool.
Like, yeah, that's awesome.
That's because enjoy that. Because at some point he's going to get older and teenagers.
Oh, of course.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So enjoy it now.
Oh,
because at some point you ain't going to get him to cut no grass.
I'm trying to savor every second of his eagerness. Yeah. Because
too bad.
Right now, a $5 bill can get you pretty much anything in the house.
Yeah. Let's say it. Too bad we can't infuse that mindset when they actually have the size and stature to actually accomplish said task.
Hey, Hunter, why don't you come over to Dad's house this weekend? And I got a crisp $5 bill with your name on it.
That's right. Well. Start with dueling weed whackers or something. Maybe give him one, and not one that's dangerous, but let him, you know what I mean? Kind of whack with you.
Yeah. Baby's first weed whacker.
Right. It's gas power. We call it the Alligator 5000. This thing will cut a 12-inch diameter tree by looking at it. Don't get that thing.
Yeah. Wait. Hunter, who gave you an auger?
Like, does Fisher Price make my first weed whacker?
Yeah, they just push it off bubbles like the
like a bubble mower and all. Give him my first weed whacker.
There you go. But yeah, no. So he's eager to maybe get out there and hold a bag while I pick up some weeds. But
Well, cool.
I'm not going to put him to the major task.
Sure. Well, it's actually father-son bonding time.
Yeah, it's nice.
Kinda, it's like, you doing your thing together. It's like hanging in the shop or going fishing or something.
But I'm going to probably go to like a garden shop or some places garden department, see if they have one of those big floppy hats with the thing on the back.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, you definitely need that.
Get real, get the look on.
Unfortunately, you need to go into a touristy place that has booths with flop hats. Right by home. I'm usually on vacation at some place, and that's where I buy those hats every single time. So I have a closet with a couple of them.
Actually, you're probably right. If I go to one of the alien shops, that's probably where I'll find it.
Probably your best bet to get a big hat. If nothing else, you can get one of those ridiculously big decorative sombreros.
This is a fun way to approach things in life. If you burst into a store with a panicked look on your face and tell the shopkeep that you're looking for something that's not super vital, show me where your floppy hats are.
Right.
No time, man. The things are happening. I need your floppy hats.
That's right. I don't have time. Where are they at? The floppier, the better.
Just bust in the store. I need to see your Pokemon cards. I can't explain right now.
Well, if you go out and about on your floppy hat search this week, and you come across the ball cap with the mullet.
Oh, the back.
Yeah.
I don't know if that exists. I think that's where you have to go for that, like probably a Boy Scouting.
Well, I'm just saying it probably doesn't, but I'm just saying if you so happen to grab one, I will reimburse you. I don't care. Buy it and bring it here.
Right.
I want to own that.
All right, I'll
I don't care if it says jazzercise on it. Don't care. I want to see.
I feel like there's got to be like an online surplus of like scouting, like camping merch.
But I'd rather see it in its natural state.
In the wild.
Like in theory, you could buy anything on the internet. Like you probably find a pet rock and buy it if you want to.
Oh yeah,
the joy is finding it in its natural habitat.
So you're saying you want me to go antiquing?
Well, if you happen to see it.
That's probably where you're going to find a hat like that, is in one of those kind of... See, and that's one thing I really miss when Roswell had the Army-Navy surplus store.
Oh, yeah.
Because places like that, you could go and find stuff like that.
A boy like me lived in the Army-Navy. Not that one, obviously, but I had one up the street from me that was in bicycle/walking distance, which was all you need in the 80s. And you don't know how many smoke bombs, whippersnappers, Chinese stars, canteens, utensil kits, various camouflage shirts and what have you.
Now, wait a minute. Your parents said this was okay, right?
It was the 80s. No one cared.
Nobody actually paid attention.
I'm pretty sure they sold butterfly knives. Right? They weren't even legal, but I buy one. I was an 8-year-old kid. I walk in there and say, give me that $20 butterfly knife. All right. They care.
That was such a carefree time,
That was a beauty. But if you walked into a regular store, they would out you.
Yeah.
But if you're going into the sporting goods section at Kmart, they're going to, get out of here,
What
kid.
you want to do is you want to find you a guy named Bucky
right.
who's missing half a finger.
Yeah.
That guy will sell you anything.
You go to the Army-Navy store, you could get all kinds of short of buying an assault rifle, you could pretty much get everything else in there. You need a Rambo knife? No, we got you.
Yeah.
You need a...
Well, and see, now, and that's where my mindset is now. But back in the day, it was, what kind of contraband can I get my hands on?
Right.
Now it's like, I'm doomsday prepping at this point, I'm like, I need your thickest canvas bag. I need a mess kit and like 16 MREs.
Right.
Stat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Like, and that was another place you wanted to. I had my first MREs as a kid because what are we doing? We're, half of our day was playing Army in the Woods, and things like that. So literally the Army-Navy store was this surplus to have us to expand upon our little war games we keep, fantasies we have in the woods with each, It was just, now, you got a helmet? Like an old World War II helmet they're running around on out there? It was great. When we were younger and really broke, we had sticks for guns. But as we start getting allowances, we save up our money and buy smoke bombs. Like, we literally played war with smoke bombs. That was, to this day, I'm amazed we didn't get in trouble or arrested because we did so much.
Well, smoke bombs smoke bombs, those aren't so bad.
Well, I know, but here's
worst
what
thing
we're
you're
doing.
going to get from that is
they literally
burn.
Put out a flame as they smoke when they start to smoke. We would light that bad boy and throw it in a bush where some friend of ours was hiding. I don't know how we didn't light up a bush. I'm just saying.
It's you know what it is? You grew up, it was a moister time.
Yeah.
It was
a
moister time.
Maryland
back then. Yeah. It was.
We did start my brother had a fire incident in our neighborhood as a child. I had one about 5 years prior to his.
I had a fire incident when I was a kid. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I was always guilty by association.
That's what happened to me.
Like I never did the thing. I was just with the kid that did the thing.
Yeah, that's what happened to me on my fire situation.
I invited my friend Brandon to a vacation. Not vacation. We used to do this Royal Ambassadors. That's what it was. It was our youth group, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I invited this kid to our RA meeting. We were there a little early, so we walked to. We were in the process of building out this place to be the new RA house, but it wasn't built yet. And he finds this box of matches in there. So he starts, just kind of like lighting a few little fires, and we put them out and all that. Then he decides he wants to light a dumpster on fire.
Yep.
That's at the church.
Happens. Yep. That's almost verbatim, except for mine wasn't at the church. It was literally in our woods up on the hill. They had to play because they used to, like growing up in my neighborhood, there were still parts of it under construction. Like they were adding homes and everything. So we had these construction areas, and there's this one place that was kind of a dump off for supplies, and it turned out to be this area in the woods where we just ended up playing Army, and then for years. And then after years of it not being the dump site, it just turned into this parkland piece of. But anyway, one of the things, there's a bunch of junk up there, and literally me and my friends, we went up there and same thing, started burning things on fire, and we all peed on it, put them out, and I thought and then we left, and we went to go play catch football, do on to the next. It was summertime. Next thing you know, we're sitting there in front of one of my friend's house, and we see the fire trucks go blaring. We're like, oh, cool, there's a fire. So we get on our bikes and follow the fire truck, and guess where it goes? Right to where we were just at.
Of course, you returned to the scene of the crime.
Well, and here's the messed up part.
You took 3 of the same turns, and that didn't set it off in your head. You're like, well, maybe this was us.
Well, yeah, we're dumb kids. But here's the thing. The part I failed to mention is while we were doing the fires, one of the kids that was kind of not in our group, that was kind of, rival group, and we didn't like each other. You know what I mean? You know how you start these things.
Sure.
He was up there, and we were, let's just say, not being nice to him. So he saw us lighting the fires.
Oh, no.
So we could ride the bikes up, following the truck, because at this point, we're just seeing, maybe they don't know it's us, But sure enough, that boy was right there. As soon as we rolled up, there's the boys that did it right there.
It's them, officers.
We even parked the bike shed, and they were outing us. And boy, howdy, that was not a great night after that.
Yeah. So. No, I withheld a detail from my story as well that I'm not particularly proud of, but ultimately because I was the kid that was in the youth group, I'm the one that got in trouble.
I set the fire.
Yeah. Well, my dad totally set it up too because he was friends with the sheriff.
Yeah.
So he had him take me in the Cubs.
Oh, he did the scared straight situation with you.
Oh, very much so he did. Yeah. And then for the next month, I was the church's.
And to be honest, at the end of the day, because I literally had nothing to do with the fires. I was literally just there. I tried to pee on it, and I explained all this to my parents. And they said, "Are you telling the truth?" And to be honest, yeah, because I told them the truth, I didn't get as much trouble.
I loved it.
And the fact that my friend admitted that it was his fireworks, that was his stuff. I forgot we brought fireworks and launching them off too.
The part of the story that you're glazing over is the best part.
Yeah.
Is that you thought, while there's a fire blazing in front of you, my stream of justice, that will put out the blaze.
Well,
let's pee on this. Quick, pee on it.
Well, and to be honest, it wasn't blazing. It was smoldering, and we peed on it, and we thought we put it out. And it reignited, so when we came back, it was ablaze.
That's why you don't let Billy drink gasoline anymore.
It was just a simple little fire. A piece of trash was on fire. It turned into a blaze.
Oh, that's fantastic, though.
My brother was similar when we were in the woods, and then they tried to throw dirt on it, and they got screaming, ran away, and the whole thing. It was very funny, but I think our guest is here. I heard doors opening and closing. So we're gonna talk some camp invention. Peggy Bowen's gonna join us here. You are running out of time. This is like almost a 2-minute notice here because first week of June is a couple weeks away,
right?
And camp is limited to 70 campers this time. So if you have not signed your kid up, you need to do it ASAP. So, but anyway, we'll talk all about if you're like, what is this camp invention of which you speak? Well, let's hang out and we'll tell you all about it. Before we do any of that, I'm told the weather is good.
Nice.
It's real good. No, it's hot, but the actual audio file is good, so we can play it. So here is Steve. Slightly delayed weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Warm, windy, and dry for the next couple of days. Strong high pressure over the southwestern states. We'll be getting sunshine today, and we're headed for the low and mid-90s. Mid-60s and a few clouds for the overnight hours. Very hot on Tuesday as well, and the wind will kick up to about 35 miles an hour. Sunshine, and we're in the mid-90s. Hot again on Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 62 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 44%. Winds currently out of the northeast at 3 miles per hour. As I'd mentioned, if you like 90s, you got it pretty much all week here. Sunny and 93 for today. Winds will be calmer today. That's not the case later this week. But today, south winds 5 to 10. They will pick up 10 to 15 out of the west later today. Tonight, partly cloudy, overnight low of 65 degrees, west winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then tomorrow, we're in the little bit warmer and a lot windier. Sunny and 94 for Tuesday. Winds will be blowing out of the west early, 10 to 20. As the day progresses, those winds will increase 20 to 30, gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. Tuesday night, winds continue, partly cloudy, overnight low of 66. West winds 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Winds will drop 10 to 15 after midnight Tuesday night. Wednesday looks a lot like Tuesday. Mostly sunny and hot with a high of 94. Winds will be blowing once again out of the southwest, 10 to 20. Early, 20 to 30, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour later in the day on Wednesday. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 57, windy. Then they don't talk about winds, but for the rest of the week. But Thursday, mostly sunny, 88. Friday, sunny and 91. Saturday, sunny and 92. And Sunday, sunny skies and a high of 93. So, warm week, but tomorrow and Wednesday especially, particularly windy days for us here. I imagine we're probably going to see some red flag warnings. I'm surprised we're not seeing the high wind warnings and stuff already. Maybe they'll start issuing those later today. All right, it is 8:21. We're going to take a 2.5-minute break, and then we'll talk camp invention with Peggy Bolin on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Do you know what the hardest part of dealing with the roofer is? Just trying to get them on the phone. Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I want you to know that you can always trust Trustmark Roofing to answer our phone. Need a free roof inspection? Just call us at 575-755-ROOF, and we'll answer with a live person, a real human being. Have a roofing project already going with us and need to discuss it? Just call 575-755-ROOF, and we will answer the phone. No answering machine, no voicemails, and no weird robot automated attendant. That's because at Trustmark Roofing, we're all about relationships and treating people right. That's true for customers and vendors and insurance companies and employees. Anyone and everyone who comes in contact with our company. So if you have any roofing needs at all, trust Trustmark to treat you right and to answer the phone. Our number again is 575-755-ROOF, or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Are you ready to succeed? The School of Arts and Sciences at ENMU Roswell covers a broad curriculum. The certificates and degrees offered within these programs will prepare students to realize personal, professional, and occupational objectives, from ag science and agricultural technology to behavioral science, biology, bookkeeping and accounting, business administration, criminal justice, education, and mathematics. ENMU Roswell can set you up for success. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
When managing a chronic illness, access to the right treatments makes all the difference. Artesia General Hospital's Infusion Center provides IV therapy and biologic treatments, so you don't have to travel far for care. Expert infusion therapy right here in Artesia. Call 575-736-8256 today to learn more.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin & Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin & Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin & Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 24 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio, last week wearing her astronomy club hat. This week back to Camp Invention. Good morning, Peggy. How are you doing? Peggy Bolin back.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Busy
Good.
like everything else. We're
Yes.
starting as warmer weather hits. Lives get busier. It's just
definitely.
Kids generally have more things going on. Obviously, summer months, we're in that season where it's graduations, people planning summer vacations, getting summer camps and things lined up for the kids for the summer. That's that time of year. So while that's going on, Camp Invention. This is one of the coolest summer camps that kids get to experience. That happens every year for the last 15, 20 years here in Roswell. I don't know the exact thing, but it's been a long time.
It's tried and true.
Yeah, and it's the Inventors Hall of Fame. This is a big international organization that runs these camps every year, and it really puts science, math, engineering, all the things that can get real blurry-eyed for kids easily if not taught the proper way. It turns it into an exciting, fun, and it makes kids not only understand and appreciate STEM, but darn it, like it, love it, want to be involved with it.
Mhm.
That's what Camp Invention is.
Yes.
So if you've got a kid that's entering kindergarten and all the way up to 6th grade, they can have a week of fun that's going to be so much fun. They're not going to know, at the end of the day, you're going to have to shut them down because they're going to be blah, 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 talking about stories and everything else. But at the same time, it's all learning. They're in group settings. They get to hang out with kids around their age the whole week. And they're all learning these cool projects and in their head, it's cool toys and gadgets and fun. And they don't realize they're learning foundational science, math, engineering, and stuff, art. It's STEAM.
Yep.
We say STEM. Camp Invention's STEAM, and it's not STEM anymore. It's straight up STEAM or STREAM or whatever they call it.
No, STEAM.
STEAM, where they add the arts and all that. I know when they add more letters, I get confused. But and that's what this week's about. So if you've not signed your child up yet, I say, dude, sign it up. This is. And I don't care what anybody says. With COVID and everything else, we're still playing behind the 8 ball and getting kids where they need to be at proper level. Come 5 years later, we're not where we're supposed to be at. And so we as parents need to do whatever we can to offer added educational and these kind of curriculum to these kids to get them to when they are paying their own bills and living their own lives, they've got the tools and the things to do so.
Right.
And that's really what this camp's about. So if you really want, and to be honest, I get it. It can, for a week of camp, it can get a little pricey, but we can help with that. We can work with that stuff. And I would also throw this out there too. And I know I'm getting already out of the gate on this stuff. But I really want to stress the importance before we talk about what's going to be going on with this camp. And if there's people out there that would love that, maybe you don't have kids that are of age anymore, but you really support and love what's going on here. We have some generous donors. We can always use more. There's never enough money. In order to get this happening, a lot of scholarship money is going to families to help, and we're more than willing to help to do all that to make sure that for the first week in June, these kids are at Camp Invention doing their thing that week. But family, no one's got $265, whatever the cost
$290.
is. $290 those laying around. And if you got 3 kids, 2 kids, and hardly, how many people have 1 kid? Most have 2, 3 that are of age that want to do this, and you're going to pick and choose. So next thing you know, you're dropping $1,000 trying to take 3 or 4 kids to camp. I get that. That's a lot, but they can help you with that. And so a lot of people do that help. But that being said, we need more donors, people that are willing to, if you've got the means, you want to throw $50, $100, whatever it is you can afford, that would be amazing. If it's $1, if it's $1,000, it doesn't matter. All goes to help put these kids to camp. So if you need help, please call Peggy. Let's get and we'll talk about that here.
We have scholarship money available.
Call her direct. Let's work with you. And like you said, you're going to pay a little bit because at the end of the day, we want skin in the game. We want you to be invested as we are investing in you. And so even if it's, 50, 60, whatever the number is that you're paying, we want you to pay something.
Yes.
So we can make sure that you're going to be here, because put it this way, we know if you don't pay for things, if you don't get invested yourself, it's easier to brush them off if they're not convenient for you at that particular time. And so we don't want you to wake up Monday morning and say, I'm tired, I'm not going to take the kid to camp.
Right, exactly.
So yes, we want you to pay a little bit, but please don't be threatened by that. Please, if you're thinking I can't afford $290 to take a kid to camp, a lot of people can't. Let's talk. Let's see what we can do. There are other means to help with that.
Right, and I've helped every single person this year that called me.
That's great. And then they will, and she will, to every other people that continue to call you. But let's just say there is not a limitless pool of funding that's just sitting there. It's every dime that's being given these scholarships is because someone made a donation for this to happen. So.
Right, and last year there was a corporate business, national, who donated, and they're not donating.
That's not
this
happening.
Year. I'm like,
so that deep gravy train is dried up a bit.
Right. But we still have the local donors, and they've been great.
Absolutely, and you know what? There's a big business in town that says, I'd love to donate 10, 15 grand towards a thing like this.
I'd be like,
we would be very happy, and that would ensure kids can go to this camp for probably a couple years to come.
But as you're saying, I mean, $5-10, anything helps.
Every little bit helps. If you get 10 people that donate $5, next you know, you've got almost enough to take a kid to camp right there. I mean, that's how we're talking here. So, but that being said, I'll kind of get off my soapbox and kind of let you talk a little bit more about the fun stuff and why it's so important for you kids to do this. This is why, and I kind of want you to go ahead and tell them, because it's every year. It's these 4 cool different, and it's like games to them. It's really like they're doing arts and crafts and games and just fun stuff. And then they're learning, this is how you plan a trip. This is how you engineer a certain thing to do a thing. That's what they're learning. And so that's the fun part of camp. So, I kind of tell them about some of the cool stuff you guys are going to be doing this year.
Well, Camp Invention really builds confidence in kids. And there's a lot of creativity and problem solving that happen during Camp Invention. It's teamwork. It's everything you'd want your kid to be doing is what Camp Invention is.
Yeah.
You don't see them on their phones. You don't see them
They're invested in the project and in the group.
Right.
Yeah.
You see them constantly working and smiling and having fun and learning how to talk to each other.
And that's a blessing in today's world. It really is.
Yeah, it really is, because you go anywhere and you see the kids just sitting on there.
Well, it's just nature. Kids, adults, everybody. We're all buried in our phones and that.
And it's quite an addiction. I mean, I try to tear myself away from it. And
I think we all
I'm
have
aware of it.
Yeah, I think every human being that's got a smartphone is probably got some level or degree of that issue. Whether it's some are worse than others, obviously, but all of us. We tend to live our life through the phone and forget that we're actually in life living it right now.
Or gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but 6.5 hours of kids not near their phones.
The one that always gets me, and I know I'm getting off topic, but I'll reel it in, I promise. The one that always gets me about the phone thing is when you go to concerts.
Yeah.
Like there are so many people that are literally watching the concert through their phone and try to get the greatest video to upload to their social media. That you're at the concert, you're missing what's going on. You know what I mean? They're living. It's like, I'm at this concert, I'm surrounded by people, but here I am, buried in my phone, watching the concert through my phone.
That's true.
That's one of these. Whoa! What are we doing here?
That's funny. You're right, though. All right.
But anyway.
So a typical day at Camp Invention, there's 4 modules. And then there's a break in between with the lunch. And it's not free lunch this time, but it is free snacks.
Yeah.
And they do, during
Bring
lunch,
a sack
there's... Right. And during lunch, there is time to go outside and for the kids to run around. But it's an organized recess, should I say, because somebody's out there and they're organizing things.
We understand that kids, especially at elementary age level, you can't keep them indoors.
No.
You know what I mean? They gotta release some energy. They gotta
run.
And their attention spans aren't that of more older folks. So at some point, they're gonna, all right, and they get distracted and things. So that's when you say, all right, time for break. Let's go and do that.
Exactly.
And then they come back and refocus. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the 4 modules this year, one is called Claw Arcade.
Yes.
Campers unleash nature-inspired creativity to make their own claw machines with unique prizes, then give a confidence-boosting pitch to hook investors.
So they get a little marketing, a little entrepreneurship, and of course they get
inventing
the math and engineering and inventing side of designing their own claw machine, and because and the beauty of it is, I'm gonna guess they talk about, like, folks, in case you realized, when you go to like Denny's to play that claw machine that's in there, they stack the deck against you. They made it easy. Everybody would get a thing every time. And so the claw's designed a certain way, or I don't know what they do per se on some of this stuff. Maybe we should go to Camp Invention and find out.
There you go.
but but they learn that it's kind of that stuff, and so that's the cool. They kind of they get. So to me, I look at this. Yeah, they're learning entrepreneurship, but they're even getting a little kind of experience in like the carnival barker type stuff, and not all is as it seems sometimes, and it gets that lesson in that kind of thing.
Right,
so
that's
cool.
true.
Yeah.
So the second one is called Penguin Launch. I think this one's going to be fun.
Sounds like fun.
Campers team up for an eco expedition as they investigate Antarctica with a robotic assistant, then design launchers to propel plush penguins across snowy landscapes.
Cool. So they get a little bit
cute.
of, again, math, engineering, but then they learn about environment and, Antarctica, and probably learn a little about culture, life. That's, how that life, not culture, because I'm not really much there except snow, but you know what I mean? Like what life in Antarctica is like. And they get to experience that a little bit and understand why only things like penguins do well there.
Exactly. Yeah, and the plush penguins are.
And then they get to have fun, and they get the little rocket launch thing with the catapult-like thing to build and launch the penguins, and they get to take that home. By the way, these are things they get to keep and get to play with, and use
all summer long.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why I do it at the beginning of summer, not at the end of summer.
Yeah, like that claw arcade, they get to take one home, and they get to do it. The same. Each one of these modules, they kind of have a make and take thing that they get to take home and share and keep, or whatever happens. Life happens with things sometimes. Like they break them when they get home. Sometimes kids are a little rougher than others, but anyway, they get to keep all this stuff. They have tangible things they take home and get to show off each one.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And the third one is called In Control.
Okay.
Campers take the driver's seat on the ultimate road trip as they design a custom control panel and navigate their journey with help from GPS and AI tools.
So they get to learn a little bit about GPS, how that works, and and then on the other side, it's again planning. Oh, we're going to go on a trip. Guess what? You just can't go on a trip.
Right.
You got to plan it. How are you going to get there? What's it going to cost? What are you going to do? Where are you going to stop? How are you going to stop?
Where are you going to stay?
Yeah. And so they're learning at that level some of that type of stuff. And you got to plan and organize to create an event and to do a thing. It's going to take more than you just leaving and go doing the thing. And they kind of learn at this level. And that's a valuable thing, when you're having the conversation. Are we there yet? I mean,
right.
Literally kind of putting them in the thing, saying this is why we're not there yet.
Right, exactly. Look on your phone. Look at maps.
Yeah,
cool. When is the ATA?
Exactly. So I love that. It kind of, and again, and who knows? You're building the next Clark W. Griswold's planning the family vacation there.
Right. I don't know if I'd want his vacation.
Yeah, maybe he should have used STEM camp because he botched a few things.
He's got issues.
Yeah.
And then the last one's called Illusion Workshop.
Okay.
When they explore the science behind special effects, campers uncover optical illusions in movies, art, and animation before building their own moving props.
So kids that love, like, maybe they have that desire to work in movies or create like that. They have that creation and love. Now they get to, and now they get to kind of even, again, it's peeling back the curtain a little bit. It's like, you see all those cool things. You see how Captain America did his thing there in that movie. This is kind of how they do those kind of things to make, because we all know Captain America is just a guy like us. He can't do those things.
That's true.
And so they get to learn a little bit about that stuff and learn how that movie magic happens. And then, like you said, get the chance to dabble a little bit themselves in it, too. So
right.
That's pretty cool. I don't know. I think a lot of kids would be into that, I think this is just neat, interesting things that pique the curiosity of kids and hopefully inspire them to maybe pursue these as career paths or whatever. Even if not, they're at least educated and well-versed enough to know that whatever they do in life, these STEM activities will go along with them. These things are all, sure, they're teaching for career opportunities, possibility, but more often than not, this is basic skills of just educating a kid to prepare them for an adult, getting them critical thinking skills, getting them group activity skills, how to work with others, how to, like you said at the beginning here, how to get a problem and go through the steps to overcome and solve said problem.
Right, exactly.
That's what they're learning here. And yes, it's all in this STEM format where they get to play and create their own claw arcades or plan their own road trips or create their own movie magic. But all of that, translates. And so whether they go on to be doctors or lawyers or carpenters, whatever it is they choose, they've got the adult skill sets to make that happen. Being your own life is more than You could be an amazing chef, but you don't know how to run a business. You ain't gonna be rich. You know
exactly.
what I mean? You could cook 10 ways to Sunday, but you don't know how to market that bad boy,
That's right.
or do it on a budget.
Mhm.
You're in trouble. And that's what this is really teaching. It's making a more well-rounded child.
Yes.
That's
and
kind
I
of what this
agree.
camp is.
Mhm.
So.
And so camp is June 2nd through the 6th.
Yes.
At All Saints Catholic School.
Yeah.
We are not affiliated
This
with
is not
the school.
This is Camp Invention.
This is their location.
National Inventors Hall of, or was it National Inventors Hall of Fame? Is that what it is? Like now I just brain farted on that. But it's their thing. It's their camp. If you go to invent.org, that's where you're going to go ultimately if you want. If you don't need scholarships or nothing, you can sign up your child for camp through there.
Right.
But if you really want to know what this whole organization's about, Camp Invention, what it is, where it goes, and all that, invent.org will tell you everything you need to know about Camp Invention. And again, it's not a religious thing or any.
It's a STEM camp.
All Saints Catholic School is kind enough to say, sure,
Yes.
come and have your camp at our church. We'd love to have you do that.
Yeah, it's a great building.
Yep.
You
But
know.
yes, if you're, that's not factoring here. It's all about
No.
the camp and the kids, and it's not church activities. It's an independent thing of its own. It just happens to be located here at because they're kind enough to allow us to
Exactly.
let them use
We
their
needed a
facilities.
building
So.
with good air conditioning.
Yep.
And that does.
And they got one. And you'll be appreciative of it.
That's
so
right.
thank you to All Saints for allowing this to happen. But yes, it is not their project. They have no. All they're doing is unlocking the doors for them and letting them happen. That's all that's happening.
And so there is a code in case somebody wants to register before May. Well, it offer expires May 15th.
Okay, so you got
just
this
a couple
week.
days.
Yeah, this week to get it done.
But it's $15 off, $15 off with the code FUN15, FUN15. So it's pretty easy.
And that's where you go. If you go to event.org, tap on a /camp, and then you're going to see a thing that says find a camp near you or something to that effect. Click that and type in Roswell, New Mexico or 88201, a locator that tells you here, and I guarantee it'll be one camp that shows up. It'll be this one.
Right.
Then you click on that, and it's got everything you need to do to sign up. You can watch videos, whatever you need to do. It's got all, just follow along. But there is going to be a spot there. If you want a discount of $15, put in that FUN15 as you're checking out and do all that, and they'll knock $15 off of the topo. Absolutely.
I know. It's a happy
two
meal.
kids, there's 30. And do they still have the multiple kid discount too?
No, they still have
that one. That is still going. So again, I guess do you have to put a code in for that, or does that?
Yeah, so if somebody needs a code, I can give that to them. Or maybe, if they call the 1-800 number, they could also help.
Gotcha. Very good. Yeah, which is another thing too. If you're kind of not like doing it, or maybe you tried it and you got lost and you didn't have help, call Peggy. She'll be happy to navigate. But you can also sign up your child online through their 1-800 number. It's 800
968-4332. I've
you
done
got it
this
memorized.
so often.
And that way you can call it, because you probably call it when you have questions to get answered.
I have called. I'm not afraid.
Absolutely. And that way you can sign up now. If you're thinking that's great, but I need more than a $15 discount here.
That's
call
where I come
Peggy direct. Call her direct on her phone, 575-420-9955. Again, 575-420-9955. Or
text
you can
me.
Text her, same number, or shoot her an email. And that's pbolin, the letter P, BOHLIN, 2016 at gmail.com. pbolin2016 @gmail.com.
Right, and it's crunch time.
Yes.
There's 3 weeks to go.
Yeah,
and so
all
I'm,
hands on deck here. Yeah.
All hands on deck. And so, if anybody has any questions or just, wants to register their kid or needs a scholarship, feel free to call me. I take phone calls.
Absolutely. You'll help them through every step of the process. You can call direct.
And if I don't answer the phone, please leave a message.
And you'll get back as soon as humanly possible. But please note, if you need more than a $15 discount, do not sign up through the website, because they can't help you that way.
Right.
They're going to charge you. They're going to call Peggy direct. Tell her, she'll talk. She will register you through the website or through her means to get you signed in, and then whatever scholarships and stuff y'all work out, that's what'll happen. So.
Right, because the money is all in Ohio, so I don't have access to it here.
Yeah.
It's just I have special codes, I have special, et cetera, et
You
cetera.
have the key to the vault that's located
I do. But camp is from 9 to 3:30.
Yes.
And we do have extended daycare.
They do.
Or day camp, I should say. It's not really daycare.
Yeah, it's
because they do activities during that time, and that's from 7:30 to 5:30.
Right. And these are for families that, okay, you got to be at work. You got to be at work at 7:30 or whatever, and I can't come and take my child in at 9 to do that.
Mhm.
Great. So you can bring them in early, and they'll do camp stuff and and activities. And then when at 9 o'clock hits, they'll start official camp day. And likewise, afterwards, if you're like, well, I'm still at work at 3 o'clock, I can't pick them up at that time. No biggie. With this extended deal, you can come in at up to 5:30.
Up to 5, right? And you can drop them off early. It doesn't have to be 7:30. It could be 8 o'clock, 8:30, whatever.
Absolutely, whatever your schedule is.
Right.
But if you have to get them there before 9 and you can't pick them up till after 3, then this is your perfect option.
Right, but it does cost an additional $100.
It does.
I mean,
but
that's
like you
to
said,
hire somebody to take care of those kids.
and they're also doing more camp. Like, yes, you're not missing anything by just going to the 9 to 3, but there's
additional problem-solving activities.
And some new stuff the kids get exposed to, and yes, they might learn a little bit more after that too. So there is an advantage there. Sure, if you're like, well, I just want to get my kid. Okay, we could do that, but you're not missing out if it's just 9 to 3. Please don't think you're going to miss something out if you don't sign up for that. It's just a way to offer parents a convenience to work their schedule a little bit more. And while we got the kids here, we're going to do something cool with them. That's all we're saying. You're not going to miss out. We're not going to anything. We're just providing a service to allow families to have a little flexibility on getting their kid to camp each week.
Right. It's 9 to 3:30, so it gives you an extra half hour.
Sorry, I said 3:30. I said 3 at 3:30.
But just in case.
Mm-hmm. And again, this is for children entering kindergarten all the way through 6th grade here. Do we still have some LIT openings?
We do.
Okay.
We do, and that's for entering 7th grade through 9th grade. It's for kids who are in between.
And this is a discounted camp cost.
Right. It's $190 instead of $290. It's $100 off.
But you're also a camper, but you're also a counselor.
Right. So you're kind of in between. You're helping the teachers, and you're helping. You're learning leadership skills.
Yeah, exactly. And when they have an event and there's a lot of moving parts, and the camp counselor can only be in one part of the circle at one time, then you as the LIT can kind of help triage and help out until she can get to there or he can get to where they're doing. But you're just being an assistant to the camp counselors, basically.
Right.
But at the same time, you get to do the project and do all the fun stuff and be like a camper. But when it's time to herd cats from here to there, you get to be part of the helping process.
Right. And the LITs, they get a little backpack. They get all sorts of things from Camp Invention.
So there's swag
There's swag just
LIT
for the
exclusive.
LITs. I'd never mentioned that before. But
and
yes, that is true.
What's the age window for 7th through
7th through 9th. So
grade.
entering 7th through 9th. So if they were in middle school this year, basically.
Now,
LIs are high school and college kids, and I've got some coming back, which is great.
Good.
So if any high school kid or college student wants some good volunteer hours, it looks great on a resume.
Absolutely.
That helped my son actually get a job.
Yeah, it does.
It did because he's a teacher now, and the principal said, "I saw you worked at Camp Invention and you worked with children, therefore, we would like you to work here."
The proof is in the pudding. You have experience teaching. Yeah.
Yay!
It does. It gives you a little clout, gives you a little bullet statement, a little bit of.
So that was nice.
Absolutely.
That they recognize Camp Invention. So
well, and this is why I went on the soapbox I went at the beginning here. This camp, if you're looking to entertain your kid for a week, this is going to do that. But here's the thing: it's an entertainment with so much substance. It's substantial entertainment. This is not it's not empty calories. It's not we watched a devoid cartoon for a day and it kept them quiet. This isn't that. They get to interact with other kids. They get to see things that, quite frankly, they've probably never seen before in some of these cases. And they get to expose to it. They're going to be tested. They're going to be given problems that are going to require some thought and effort.
There's no testing.
Yes, there's not going to be no testing, but as far as they're going to be tested and matured in a bit. What I mean by that is they're going to be
challenged.
Yeah, they're going to be challenged. They're going to be presented problems that they're going to have to invest time, energy, and thought to solve.
Right.
And that's a good thing because these are the things we're training the brain to do. So that's the thing. You're training the brain to prepare it to do the thing. Whether that thing for them is a lawyer down the road or an artist or whatever, it doesn't matter. Their brain is prepared to do the thing. Now, if they want to be engineers and rocket scientists and all these things, awesome. We've lit that interest bug.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, they could care less about engineering and math and science and get tools that will serve them whatever direction they choose to go in. So, yes, it's all about teaching the STEM and STEAM, but it's more about giving kids the tools to help them navigate as adults down the road.
Exactly.
And that's the big message. And yes, and it's all done in making claw arcades and penguin launchers and everything else. That's
right. It's fun, but educational.
Absolutely. So that's why I'm saying, you know what, if you're trying to give your kid opportunities that are outside of the classroom, and then at the same time, great. I got them engaged and out of my hair for a week. I mean, we can have a win-win here.
Well, I've had campers who started when they were, let's say, in second grade, and now they're leadership interns.
Well, that's just it.
They're high school and
see them
college
grow
kids.
and mature.
Yeah.
And now
and they love it so much that they continue coming back.
And that's the advertisement in the product in and of itself. If kids don't like it, they're gone. They're out and seek.
Exactly.
And the fact that they're not only coming back but begging to come back, that the proof's in the pudding. That these kids got so much out of this camp, they want to continue it even after, in some way, shape, or form, even though technically they're too old for camp anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
They want to stay engaged. They want to stay active. Dare I say, lead by example a little bit. That's what they're looking to do. And we love that. And that's why this camp is awesome. And that's why hopefully another 15 years from now, it's the same thing going on. And we got, whether it's in All Saints or at a new place or whatever it is, we want it to continue. So in theory, these people that are now elementary age kids come back when they're 20, 30 something, bringing their kid back. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's amazing. So, but anyway, but deadlines are coming up here. The camp is the first week. You've got until the 15th to take advantage of the $15 code here. If you're not worried about that, you can sign up anytime. Or if you need more than that, you need to get in touch with Peggy directly, to call or email or get in contact with her, and let's work it out that way here.
Right.
So,
right.
What other things did you want to mention that I've just got soapboxing space and God's talking about? Is there anything you want to make sure we...
We have parent volunteers. So if there's a parent out there who they're not sure if I want to send my upcoming kindergarten child to camp.
You're not ready to let go of the leash yet. Quite right. Yeah,
I've had parents who want to volunteer, and that's great.
Hey, we'll put you to work.
We'll put you to work.
But be noted, you got to help more than just your kid.
Exactly. Because that is encouraged. Yes.
Just be warned, they're going to ask you to help other kids too.
Right. But I have parents who are, it's like, well,
I get it.
especially if they're coming from Dexter
I'm
or
going to take a stab. Those kindergartners and first graders, where this is maybe the first time they're away from parents for any more than a couple hours, is intimidating for kids, but also the parents too. I get that.
Definitely. Yeah. And the homeschool kids too.
Absolutely.
I encourage them to come too because this is perfect.
Absolutely.
It's just a week.
Absolutely.
It's not a whole school year.
And as homeschoolers, because you're kind of in charge of the curriculum and what's going in as a homeschool teacher or parent. But there are things that you can't do no matter how much you want to, unless you want to invite the whole neighborhood to your house to hang out and do these things. And so the things that you really can't teach in your classroom at home, this is where they can get in there. Things like how to work well with others, how to, and brothers and sisters aren't always the best ones to do that because it's a different thing, and they'll love each other later, but they're going to come hard or young. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so people that aren't related to you, that aren't to total strangers to your child, how do you deal with those? How do you interact with those? How do you compromise? How do you learn? Okay, how do I don't want to, I want to be supportive of what they do, but at the same time, I don't want to compromise what I do.
Exactly.
Learning those kinds of things start in group settings, doing how to make a claw arcade together. That's what they're doing. So that being said, if you're homeschool, please, this is a valuable. If you are homeschooling a child, I highly recommend you sign up for this.
Yeah, this is a great camp. We've had homeschoolers before.
I think this should absolutely be part of your curriculum every year. Like when we all as kids, and it's time to take our field trip to the whatever at the end of the year. Yeah, make this part of that curriculum. Nope, it's June. It's time for Camp Invention Week. That's how it should be treated in your homeschool curriculum. I personally believe.
Right.
Good deal.
So just to remind them, it's for entering kindergarten through 6th grade. That's the campers. LITs are those in middle school right now. LIs, which are leadership interns, LITs are leaders in training.
Gotcha.
LIs are leadership interns. They're high school and college and beyond. We've had kids who've been leadership interns for multiple years.
They're the glue that keeps the camp going.
Yes. And then it's at All Saints Catholic School. Remember, it's just our location.
Yeah.
From June 2nd through the 6th. I'm reading backwards. And the time is from 9 to 3:30. It costs $290 without any discounts, but I do have scholarship money available, and there's a $15 discount right now if you sign up before May 15th. It expires May 15th. And the code is FUN15. And there is an extended day hours from 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. And that is an additional $100, but it does not include Friday afternoon because we're cleaning up.
That's the day everyone goes home, and once camp's done, everything's done.
Camp is over. Yeah. And so if somebody wants to reach out to me, my phone number is 575-420-9955. There
you go.
Or pbohlin2016@gmail.com.
Yep. And reach out, and please, if you need a partial scholarship, call that direct. But invent.org/camp. If you want to save 15, enter our code FUN15 before the 15th and take advantage of that. But if you don't care about that, you can sign up right now through your camp, get them boom and locked in and registered, and don't have to worry about it. But if you need financial help, reach out to Peggy direct.
Exactly.
Good deal. Well, thank you, and as always, appreciate it. We'll see you here down the road pretty quick.
Thank you.
And anything else we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
All right, it is 8:56. Let's pause for news, sports, and Red Apple report. Don't go away.
Now for your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Cirillo. Roswell police are investigating a crash late Thursday night that left one person dead and two others seriously wounded. It happened about 10 p.m. at Southeast Main and East Poe Streets. 47-year-old Sonia Linda Olivas is identified as the driver of a 2005 Toyota Avalon that police say ran a red light and struck a car at the intersection. Olivas was killed. Police shut down the intersection for about 2 hours to investigate. And a new women's health clinic is opening today in Artesia. Vibrant Women's Health Clinic is a new facility dedicated to comprehensive women's services. The clinic will serve patients from Artesia, Carlsbad, Roswell, and surrounding areas. It will be led by Dr. Scott Beard and nurse practitioner Lori Crockett. The opening of the Vibrant Women's Health Clinic is part of Artesia General Hospital's ongoing investment in expanding local health care access and ensuring that women in rural communities don't have to travel far for quality, specialized care. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
All across America, this is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
Stocks will open after they were barely changed on Friday, going into the tariff talks between the U.S. and China in Switzerland this weekend. President Trump suggested he's open to lowering tariffs on China. Even in the best-case scenario, there will probably still be tariffs of at least 10% on many countries. Trump also suggested he would be open to raising taxes on the richest Americans, to help middle and lower-class Americans, and to help pay for tax cut extensions without raising the deficit. Before tariffs are settled, the debate is now becoming on how to pay to extend tax cuts and also remove taxes on tips and overtime and Social Security payments without increasing the deficit. Top gaining stocks on Friday included Tesla and Lyft and First Solar because so many solar panels come from China. Leading decliners included United Airlines, the airline the most affected by the problems at Newark, and Expedia, which also owns Hotels.com, CarRentals.com, and others. Also lower was Starbucks, which has now spawned so many competitors. Starbucks stock is down 30% since March. With business, I'm Joe Connolly.
This is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
This is Judge Janine Pirro with an important message. A mom and her son were being followed by a man in a parking lot. As he approached their car, she pulled out her Byrna launcher, and the sight of it was enough to make him flee. Byrna gives you the power to protect your family without lethal force. No permits, no background checks, just peace of mind. Visit Byrna.com and use code Janine for 10% off. Remember, Byrna isn't legal in New York City or Yonkers. Stay safe. Stay prepared with Byrna.
Have you spent a lot of time trying to whiten your teeth with no real success? Here at Carabelli Dental, we have a solution. Get that perfect smile you've always wanted with veneers. Veneer treatment is quick and minimally invasive and will provide you with a confident smile in just a couple easy steps. You deserve to love your smile, so don't let another day pass you by without calling us to start the smile design process.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell, or call 575-622-4455.
Your home for Kim Commando in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Tariffs for 90 days. President Trump is cheering the news and says China will open up its market to American businesses and suspend trade barriers.
I think it's going to be fantastic for China. I think it's going to be fantastic for us. And I think it's going to be great for unification and peace.
News of the reduced tariffs sent stock prices sharply higher on Wall Street. The Dow is up nearly 1,000 points. The president also says an American-Israeli hostage will soon be released by Hamas.
Idan Alexander, an American citizen who, until recently, most thought was no longer living, thought was dead, is going to be released in about 2 hours, actually.
Alexander has been held in captivity in Gaza since October 2023. President Trump also welcomes a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Speaking at the White House a short time ago, he said trade was a big reason the two sides reached an understanding to stop military actions. House Republicans have introduced legislation that would significantly slash Medicaid spending.
The bill from the House Energy and Commerce Committee comes ahead of what's expected to be a marathon committee hearing on Tuesday. It appears to cater more to the moderate wing of the party rather than the conservatives, who had been agitating for drastic cuts to the program. But it remains to be seen if leaders found the right balance between the two sides. The legislation does not include a per-beneficiary cap on federal Medicaid spending. Neither does it include a reduction in the minimal federal share to states, both of which were being pushed by conservatives. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
The White House says plans are set for Ukrainian President Zelensky to meet face-to-face with Russia's Vladimir Putin in Turkey this Thursday. S&P 500 is up 2.5%. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Analysis at townhall.com. Safety concerns continue at Newark Liberty International Airport.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy plans to reduce the number of flights at Newark Airport for the next several weeks as New Jersey's largest airport struggles with radar outages and a shortage of air traffic controllers.
In the morning and early afternoon, we're going to have more capacity. As those international flights come in the afternoon, we slow it down a little bit more.
He also tells NBC's Meet the Press this is not an isolated issue.
I'm concerned about the whole airspace, right? The equipment that we use, much of it we can't buy parts for new. We have to go on eBay and buy parts.
The situation so bad. Friday, this air traffic controller heard on liveatc.net.
FedEx 1989, I hand you off here. Our scopes just went black again. If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff.
I'm Julie Walker.
I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Trace and Mirnos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. I'm laughing because I'm understanding the irony of he just brought a bag in with him. And I know what's in the bag. And I also know we're going to talk to the health council in about 10, 15 minutes.
There's that. But also, I was just thinking, may I offer you a cookie in this trying time?
Yeah, Mike was ranting. Here. One of these days, I'll share those with you. Not today.
No, you won't. Not until the FCC drastically changes rules and regulations.
This is why we need Mornings with Mike Winters after hours.
After dark,
and
right.
we'll go someplace that it won't throw us out.
Yep.
And there'll be 6 people that care about this, and we'll all do it together in this place. And we'll get you 6 people to buy copious amounts of drinks and food. So
and
it
then you'll
kind
hear
of offset the cost of this ranting.
You'll hear what's really up. And of course, most of the proceeds will go towards, probably like the NAACP or the Association of what are they? ARC? Is that still a thing?
I hope so. No, I mean those in the figurative ways, of course. I say words that make me feel better.
Yes, we all do. I've started just saying variations of Benedict Cumberbatch's name.
Ooh, that's a
to
good
like fill
idea.
in for swears.
Although that might not be any better.
Bandy Hoots, Silly Snatch.
Yeah, mine will get dirty.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Boozle, Rot, Crafty Waffle.
I fully admit I have a problem sometimes.
Yeah, me too, and I got kids.
Yeah.
So
well, that's not.
It becomes a bigger problem.
And quite frankly, 99% of the time I do my rantings in the quiet of no one around. Yeah. And to be honest, I was aware of this one, and I went vanilla.
No, admittedly, I was like, well, I've heard worse.
I went vanilla. I was just mad to see something.
No, and that's it's understandable given the situation with which we're discussing.
It's just life is one of these things that sometimes I feel like for every step forward I take, 3 steps push me back. Sometimes.
Yeah,
one of those moments.
It always seems like
I move on. So let's eat some cookies and talk about health council. That's what we're doing.
Let's do. That's very odd.
By the way, for sure, we are going to have Goddard Rocket playoff baseball for you here on Thursday. They play 12:30. They are a 12 seed. They're going to be taking on the 13th seed, who also got an underdog matchup in there. They beat what was that? 13th. So that would have been a 6 seed, I believe, or 6 seed. I don't remember. I'm not looking at the thing. But anyway, it's like because Goddard was a 11 or 12 seed, and they beat the 5 seed. So I think the 6 seed took on the 13th seed, or no, the 4 seed took on. So they beat the 4 seed. Yeah, they beat the 4 seed. I'm sorry. So we got a 2 underdog matchup here between Chaparral and Goddard here on Thursday.
And they're not as well seeded.
Yeah, and so and then if they win that game, they'll play Friday, and it's probably going to be Artesia on Friday. They're the 1 seed. They advanced. They take on Berlin, I think, or I can't remember who they play in the game earlier that day. We may have others games as well for you. We're like a lot of moving parts there, but for sure we will have Goddard baseball for you here the rest of the beginning Thursday and however long they carry on to the playoffs. We'll have Artesia Bulldog baseball and softball for you as well on KSVP beginning Thursday too. They both of their teams advanced. For us here, Goddard softball lost in the first round. I don't think Roswell made the playoffs. I didn't see them on either bracket. And then and Goddard baseball, so they're the ones left here. But yeah, we might be carrying some others. Just we're working that angle right now.
The gears are in motion. Speaking of baseball, did you drive at all by the Woolbull area or that complex over the weekend?
Yeah, I think Nimi had a graduation.
No, I mean, well, sure, but
but like there was a bunch of cars there. But it was
there was
like
MMI. Some kind of 2-day baseball tournament going on at the baseball diamond, like adjacent to the Woolbull, like
That's the NMMI baseball field.
Was that?
Yeah, the one that you see on the highways you pass.
No, yeah, but the one that's kind of set back.
Okay.
Towards like it's kind of set back towards the
maybe
the back.
Was
not the one not the one closest to Main Street.
That was down at where's Matanza Fest?
That was I think the fairgrounds.
Okay.
No,
I'm just trying to think of events this weekend.
If you drove by like the visiting side of the Woolbull, like down what is that, Virginia? Or no, I'm sorry, Garden.
Yeah.
You'd have seen it. It was just a ton of RVs out there, and there was like a 2-day some kind of tournament. I don't know. I'm not sure it was something from out of town or like it was akin to like a Gus Macker style crowd, like to where you saw like a parking lot full of RVs.
Flag football or something? I know we've been
no, it was
talking
baseball.
About that. It was baseball.
Yeah, it was baseball they were playing.
Maybe it was Little League. I don't know. I'm kind of clueless. I just know that I kept seeing like Saturday I saw a bunch of cars parked in front of Nimi, and people were kind of dressed up, so I kind of assumed that's graduation weekend.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there was people in uniform, but like the parents and civilians were kind of dressed a little nice too. So I don't think they were going to baseball.
No, this was the other side of the Woolbull.
This was here in front of the Pearson and where they had the police cars.
Not that big baseball field, but the
block behind it.
The one that's next to the dog park.
Gotcha.
There you go. So these are chocolate covered pretzel Oreos,
which we talked about a week or two ago.
About a week and a half ago. Now I obtained these from Target.
All right.
They weren't inexpensive. Put it this way, I paid about the same for a 24-pack of brand name waters.
Wow. Well, I will tell you this though, like when I want to find the unusual Oreo flavors, Target's usually my one seed on finding them.
They do, they do tend to win in that category.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you before I even open this, your normal Oreos orient this way, Oreo went this way.
Like when you pull back that tab,
it'll show it.
There is a horizontal rows of Oreos.
The fine people at Nabisco know exactly what they're doing when it comes to space use because, and you could feel this before you even open the package, these are sideways.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming it's somehow less cookie. But it is a pretzel flavored cookie topped with salt and chocolate flavored cream. So,
right. Hey, does Carrie want one of these?
Yeah.
You want to come in on this?
Health Council, you want to? And Jocelyn, you want to try one of these?
Want to try a cookie?
Okay, immediate. You got the golden Oreo smell. I want to get one off the front here.
Okay. I gotta do my nose thing.
Now I can say that I'm seeing a little bit of salt.
Be honest, it just smells like a regular Oreo to me.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. I'm gonna grab 2 because I think I'm gonna like this one. And I need a second cookie to confirm.
Yeah, of course.
Get that to Jocelyn. We'll pass over to Carrie here. Are you an Oreo aficionado, Carrie? Just.
I don't know if I would say an aficionado, but I do like me a good Oreo now and then.
Yeah. Kind of Sean and I were always, when they put the new weird flavors or different flavors, we're always kind of All right, we'll try it. And the thing that gets me about Oreo is every time they put a cookie out, regardless if I think it's going to be delicious or disgusting, it's usually good. I mean, it very much it's all right. Like even the weird ones, like the watermelon.
I have to work the door.
Okay, but like the watermelon cookies, like I was like, oh, these are going to be god awful, and they were delightfully tasty. So Oreos always seems to do good, no matter what you give them. So
Well, see, and that's my problem is I couldn't force myself to try a watermelon cookie. It just doesn't sound right.
this is the sword that we radio people fall on.
This smells fantastic. the cookie itself smells like graham cracker.
It does have a graham, but it's got a salty graham cracker, if that makes sense. It smells like salty graham cracker.
All right.
She's already ate hers. She's already consumed it.
Oh, see, you guys all do it wrong. I mean, they literally just bit into the cookie, and that is not an Oreo, man.
Well,
I'm trying to get the full
Yeah.
chocolate-covered pretzel experience.
To get the what they want to present us, I eat that way, and then I separate. But when I try it for the first time, I eat it in all its
delightful.
See, and I have to know, is the center good or not?
The center's chocolatey. This tastes good. I do not detect pretzel. I do not get a pretzel feel at all with this. It's a little salty, but the cookie does not match pretzel consistency. Like you need that brown shell, like that's on a pretzel. It tastes
But
good.
yet not a graham cracker.
It's like a salty graham cracker. It tastes good. I'd eat a whole box of these, but I don't know if it tastes like pretzel, chocolate covered pretzel.
See, now I have to eat just the cracker to see what it really is.
This is why I got 2 cookies. I will love these. Taste wise, they're delightful. They taste good. I'm gonna do your move now. I'm gonna separate.
I think they'd be really good with a big old glass of milk, and I don't like milk, so.
Dang it! I got cream on both cookies. Hold on. The cream by itself.
The cream by itself is really good.
You know what it reminds me of? Like a stiffer version of like when you buy Duncan Hines frosting to put on a cake. It's that consistency.
But the fudge one, not just like a milk chocolate. It's more fudgy.
But also a little bit gunkier, not as smooth like to spread it.
Like chocolate Biscoff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the cookie itself has, it doesn't have a graham cracker taste. It doesn't have a pretzel taste. It really has kind of like no taste.
It's like an Oreo cookie taste without the chocolate or whatever.
Yeah, but not even like the golden cookie, because it has like a vanilla-y taste to it.
Yeah.
This doesn't even have that. This is weird. When you break it down and start looking at all your different flavors. Now, altogether, it's fantastic.
Right.
But that's not how you eat an Oreo.
I can get on board with that and concur. But yeah, there is the salt on the outside. But yeah, I haven't deconstructed this thing yet. It does seem extra stuffed, and the fudge is fantastic. Whatever the chocolate they're using here. But.
That's what we kind of, while you were doormanning, we kind of compared the chocolate to like a Duncan Hines fudge frosting, but a little thicker, a little muddier, not as quite as smooth.
You know what it reminds me of? If you're familiar with EL fudges.
Yeah.
It's that kind of cookie.
I just saw a commercial for EL fudge the other day, like a Keebler EL fudge.
It is delightful. Not quite chocolate-covered pretzel, though.
That's my final verdict. If you want a tasty cookie, and it is. If you're looking for chocolate-covered pretzel flavor,
that is not.
I wouldn't call it that. I think it's more... It's slightly salty. Like someone had a salted caramel chocolate cookie thing going on situation. Almost that kind of deal. The cookie is more graham cracker than pretzel.
But
it's not quite either.
But it's not graham cracker.
Right. The salt is a delightful offset, though.
Like, you know what I'd really like to try? What I hope they do is that they created a cookie that's more like those pretzel... it comes in the blue bags, the pretzel...
Flips.
It's not flips.
Okay.
It's like the pretzel skin. It's not the whole pretzel. It's just the brown part. Pretzel thins, I think they call them, or something
pretzel,
like that.
Yeah, chips or pretzel.
Something like that. I think if you created something more like that and then put some chocolate in that bad boy.
A little salt on top. That would be...
That's where I'd say
Yeah,
that's a chocolate-covered pretzel cookie.
And you wonder why the guy has diabetes.
That's right.
He came by it honestly, folks.
I'll be dead in 5 years, but I'm dead happy.
You know, when it comes to snacks, you trust the ones with the sugar foot.
I won't steer you wrong. To the best
right.
of my ability. That being said, throw all that out the window, and we're going to talk health. Carrie Moore is going to officially join us with the Chaves County Health Council. Here,
You know, there's nothing wrong with a cookie at breakfast time in moderation.
Well, one cookie's fine. One sleeve of cookies, not so much.
Don't judge, Mike. Don't judge.
Oh, I've been there. And
It was a long weekend.
And I may or may not have a shirt on. Just saying. May have pants, too. May or may not. I don't know.
Oh, and this is why you're on the radio.
This is right. Put these cameras in here. That was their fault. It is 9:19. Let's pause for weather, and then, I'll come back after weather.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Warm, windy, and dry for the next couple of days. Strong high pressure over the southwestern states. We'll be getting sunshine today, and we're headed for the low and mid-90s. Mid-60s and a few clouds for the overnight hours. Very hot on Tuesday as well, and the wind will kick up to about 35 miles an hour. Sunshine, and we're in the mid-90s. Hot again on Wednesday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Wakefield Oil Company is a name you can rely on with full service at the pump the way it used to be. You can expect service in just 15 seconds. They offer bulk fuel and oil services and even diesel exhaust fluid. Wakefield Oil Company will deliver to farms, ranches, dairies, the oil fields, and more with dependable service you can count on. So the next time you need service or delivery, go with the name that locals have trusted since 1983. Wakefield Oil Company, 311 South Virginia in Roswell. Let them earn your business.
Hi, I'm Chef Anthony Noble at the Valley Cafe located at 801 West Brasher in Roswell. We want to welcome you for dinner 5 to 8 p.m. weekdays, except Wednesday we close at 2 p.m. If you haven't tried our food yet, I hope you come try one of our dinner entrees, pasta, soups, salads, burgers, and sandwiches, and our weekly specials as well. Let me make you great dinner. Visit the Valley Cafe at 801 West Brasher, the Orange Building across from Church on the Move in Roswell.
Can't see us in person? Find our full menu on DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925. We have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2660.
Hey CVE members, have you scheduled your no-cost home energy audit? If not, it's time to sign up. Call 575-746-3571 to get your name on the list for a free home energy audit. Weather stripping, new door sweeps, minor repairs, and much more. Start saving money and keep that purchased air in your home. Central Valley Electric Cooperative is happy to partner with Green Metal Energy for this valuable audit. Again, 575-746-3571.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The U.S. Treasury once considered producing donut-shaped coins. They instead decided to go with coin-shaped donuts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 9 o'clock, and now officially joining us in studio this morning, Carrie Moore with the Chaves County Health Council. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am fantastic.
And well,
I had cookies this
let's say,
morning.
got the sugar coursing through the vein. You're good to go. So, very good. What? The big thing that we, for folks that don't know, the Chaves County Health Council, and I say this every time, they're one of the big things that people know right now every day is they are the ones that they are the, when you call 211, if you need information about medical services or flood services right now or any of that stuff, when you call 211, you're going to get the Chaves County Health Council. They're the purveyors of that 211.
So in the state, all 211s are operated by the United Way.
Gotcha.
Chaves County is the only one that is different. So when you call 211, you're getting the Health Council.
Gotcha.
United Way in Chaves County doesn't do individual assessments, I guess. They work within the nonprofit community.
Gotcha.
And then they have us deal with the public on that. So we are getting a lot of people who are calling wanting United Way, but that's not where your connection is. It is through the Health Council with the 211.
Very good. So if you're in Eddy or Lee and you use their 211, you're probably talking to United Way folks.
To United Way, yep. Everywhere else in the state.
And yes, it originally is kind of was if you're new to town looking for a doctor or you need help with WIC or those kind of things, that's there. But since the flooding, it is also kind of adapted to anything kind of FEMA at this point or anything flood related. Getting resources, offering resources. The Health Council has been the conduit here in Chaves County.
Right. And to an extent, the fire in Ruidoso as well, because we do still have some people in Roswell from Ruidoso. They've just kind of stayed here because there was no place to go back.
And then they got hit with flooding after fires.
Right.
They've seen it all. But also, the other things that folks would know the Health Council for is the other big thing is their annual health expo that they have usually right around back to school time there in August. And it's kind of a two serves where, yes, we do all the offering health services and different things, but it's also serves as helping families kind of get their kids ready for school. And they, thanks to the donations of the various booths at the fair,
right,
or at the expo that we give away school supplies and backpacks and all that.
Right. Yeah. So we set it up so that way we give out backpacks to all the kids in Chaves County. So it's not just the Roswell schools. It is anybody inside Chaves County. And then when we have leftovers at the end, we will take them down to the valley. And that way we make sure that kids in Dexter, Hagerman, and Lake Arthur all have access to backpacks if they weren't able to make it up to Roswell for the Health Expo. This year we have lucked out. We've got the Department of Health mobile unit, so they're going to do vaccines.
Okay.
Back to school vaccines. They're at the event, so that way the kids can get those before they go in. They're also going to bring in their software stuff so that they can do birth certificates.
Okay.
So it's trying to make sure that we can get all the kids ready to go back to school because they will go to school that following week.
So all their ducks in a row, shot records, birth certificates, whatever they're needing to go to school.
They can access it right there.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if they need school supplies, they need stuff, they're going to be doing the giveaways and all that stuff for them.
Right. Too. And it's not just about the kids, so it's the full community. Mm-hmm. So, it's pre-birth.
Yeah.
Is that
pre-birth?
Is that the right word?
Prenatal? Yeah, there you go.
I like pre-birth.
Pre-birth sounds cooler though. Yeah.
Pre-birth to afterbirth.
I need some post-birth health care. So just health care.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
No, post-death health care is a different area we haven't breached yet.
Right, but we're trying to get some of the funeral homes to come in because they need to be able to do an assessment so you can pre-plan your funeral expenses.
Save your family a lot of headache and time when because when that time comes, there's enough going on usually. Now, if all those arrangements are made, that's one less thing. So.
Yeah, I went and I found me a planning book on it. It was sorry, I'm dead now. It's your mess.
Right.
But that's the clean version of it.
Sure.
And I'm like, this is kind of fun. We should really do something like this and get it more official.
Yeah.
And so, working on that. Some financial planning stuff. The banks need to be part of this because finances, making sure that you have a healthy cash flow in your house.
Right.
Is health related because if you're stressed out because you can't manage your bills, that affects everything.
Well, when the breadwinner dies, sometimes families are left in the lurch, and without a plan, that's where it gets bad, and that's how they're left in the lurch. And so yeah, it's and that's what you said last time we talked. You said this is kind of an overall health, so things that you're not necessarily designate as a healthcare related thing. Is when we talk about it's even like you said, retirement planning, things that create mental health stresses, things that human beings have trouble navigating without running into hurdles and obstacles and stress. These are available at the Health Expo to help you navigate it. So if you're thinking, you know what, I do need to plan for retirement. I do need to, what's going to happen if I'm not here anymore? There's folks there that can. So that's health too. It's not okay. We're not doing now, and the stuff you think of. You want your glucose screenings and all the blood, donating blood, blood pressure checks. All that stuff will be there.
Well, we're hoping. With it being at the mall this year, things are going to be a little different.
Right,
we're not quite sure how things are going to flow through. So, yeah, we'll see what happens as we're doing this. We're still taking. So right now we're in the early bird booth registration piece.
Okay.
And that means that if you are a business, nonprofit, whatever, if you are promoting health and wellness, the booth is only $25.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's for 10 to 2. So for a half day to reach about 1,000 people, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
After the 30th, then it'll jump up to $50 a booth. So you really kind of want to get in there and lock it in now.
Yeah, save you some money.
Yep. I don't know how many spaces I'll have because, again, whole new venue. And
yeah, this is new. Yeah, for folks that don't know, the tradition is it's always at the Convention and Civic Center. As we all know, that's not available right now.
Right.
So the Roswell Mall is kind enough to be the host for this year's event, but it creates different logistics and things. And but at the same time, it also creates new opportunities and new cool things that maybe you didn't get to experience at previous health expos that will be available at this one. So it's a mixed bag. Like it's a new location. It's good and bad, just like everything else when something's new.
Right. Yep. So we've got that going on, and then this week is kind of a busy week for us. So this week it's the second Wednesday of the month. So that's our monthly health council meeting.
Which, if you're interested in becoming more involved, come on to the meeting. They'd love to have you.
Well, in this one, we're going to do our community health improvement plan. So this is the way it works. This is how the health council does. There's 50,000 different organizations that take community assessments to find out what everybody in the state needs. And then they break it down by where we're at. And then we create these community health improvement plans. And that's what we focus on how to help make Chaves County better.
Gotcha.
and the areas that we need to focus in. So this will be kind of like ending up our last plan and seeing where we're at, what we need to address and move on. And then so that will happen on Wednesday during our health council meeting. And then on Thursday, the state is doing a community conversation, which is around the same exact thing.
Gotcha.
So, but this is figuring out from 2026 to 2028.
Okay.
And so they're looking for those that are currently involved in healthcare or the nonprofits or anybody who in the community who wants to help direct and guide how these plans are put together needs to be part of these conversations. This one is going to be a hybrid meeting. So everywhere else in the state, it's all done via Zoom. But because we have access to a fairly large meeting room, we're going ahead and do it as a hybrid.
Okay.
So that's going to be Thursday from 10 to 2 at 500 North Main. Or for more information, again, you can get with 211, and we can get you the stuff on that one. And so the state comes up with some weird names. So their assessment or their health planning thing is called CHIP, Community Health Improvement Plan, CHIP. And
which
so
nobody, when they hear CHIP, thinks that.
Exactly. And then their collaborative group is called SALSA. And I can't tell you what all it stands for, but literally it's all chips and salsa.
At least that's happier.
Yeah. So for this hybrid meeting that we're doing on Thursday, I said, you know what? Well, I'll just bring you some chips and salsa.
There we
So,
go.
we're just going to have that. And then there's still time right now to register for May 28th, which is 100% Chaves County.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the opioid settlement.
Oh, for the
funding.
So they're discussing on what to do with this money, or
Yeah, so this is a summit. So this is a full day event out at the college.
Okay.
But you need to register for it to be able to participate because
it's free to sign up, but you do need to sign up.
Yeah, but because it's limited to like about 100 people on it.
Well, I'm sure space is limited and whatever.
Space in Roswell is limited everywhere now, due to all kinds of things.
Look, if you got a meeting space, you can make bank. You got a good one.
if you got a good one, especially if it's big enough, and there's a lot building them right now because of this.
Yeah, well, we've learned the void that causes by not having a convention center, huh?
Yeah.
We're learning really, really quickly.
Yeah. But the Opioid Settlement Summit, you can go to 100%ChavezCounty.com, or again, 211, we can get you the information so that you can get registered for that, or give you more information on it. This is something that I think is fantastic because we do have some major issues with, drug abuse.
Absolutely.
And
anybody who says different, they're lying to themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we are actually doing something new. So been looking at trying to come up with a youth initiative. And so came up with a different plan. We're calling it ZAG because it's a Z and Alpha Generation
Okay.
Business Fair.
Okay.
So we have it's not founding. It's it's our first meeting so that we can get all of those that want to be part of this together and start planning it and getting it going.
Okay.
But basically 6 to 17-year-olds can create a business, and then we will have a fair where they can sell their products.
So they can make create their own business legitimately.
Right, and that's working with
cool.
getting their business licenses and making sure that they're complete legal to do it. And then we're working on being able to get enough funding through donors to give them the seed money to start. Because part of starting a business is you have to have money. You have to have money to make money.
You need more than an idea.
Right. And so we don't want it to hinder anybody. So we will set it up so that there's seed money so that you can start your project. We're going to do it where you have to actually come and talk to the Shark Tank.
Oh, cool.
You have to pitch your ideas.
Cool. So very kind of create that Shark Tank experience.
Right. And it'll be a full create a business plan. You got to do a budget. It is going to be a true learning experience. And this will teach. So the idea is that it's done just before we go into the Christmas season.
Okay.
So then after you sell, if you decide that you want to continue selling your product, that there will be several opportunities within the next month.
Continue this on to be possibly a legitimate full-time business for you someday.
Right, and especially with the health fair, or with not the health fairs, with the Christmas fairs and the arts fairs coming up, you can just kind of slide right into
Some
that.
of those are disappearing too with the lack of the. They're trying to find other ways to do it, but again, learning that we need this convention.
Yeah, don't get me started.
But that sounds really cool, and it really, to be honest, if one of these students just dive in with this with both feet, so to speak, who knows? You might be the next Roswell Seed sitting there. You know what I mean? 100 years from now, we're talking about their business. You never know.
This is a fantastic opportunity. Again, it's that seed money that I think is the big kicker on it. Because when we were looking at it when other communities are doing it, no, there's no money to do this. You pay us to get your booth, and it's like, I don't feel right profiting off kids, right?
Sure. It feels like a scam.
Yeah, and it did. I mean, as a parent, and especially when you're living in an area that's low income, and we all know Chaves County is a low income area, it's not quite right. And every kid has that opportunity because, they may have the best, greatest idea, but no way to do it.
Sure.
And so let's help them.
Absolutely. This is good stuff.
See, this is how health comes. It's all aspects of life.
Absolutely. Health is a term. It's happy, happy and healthy. Right. Those are all synonymous with each other. And you could be the epitome of, your blood pressure's perfect, this and that, but if you don't have plans for the future, then your mental health deteriorates. And health is not just, eat right and exercising. Health is everything. Everything that's your body and impacts your world, your life, and the good things and the bad, that's your health. And all of it impacts it equally, whether it's like, you eat a bunch of junk food, you're going to get fat. Well, guess what? You deal with a bunch of stress and things, your brain's going to go crazy too, and you got to deal with that. And that's it's all the same. At the end of the day. But part of that too is when you create the foundations and create the opportunities, then the worries become less. I mean, it's a small business. If you're going to have worries, come on, it's a business. But at the end of the day, you're not worried about how am I going to start it, how am I going to fund it, how am I going to market it, how am I, these things they're learning at that level, and so they can focus on I love the widget, but now I've learned how to market said widget, how to turn this widget into a profitable thing for me.
Right. And so where everybody says that kids need something to do, this gives them something to do. This will give them a plan on how that they can make money a legit way to be able to move forward.
Not to mention it's going to broaden them and prepare them for whatever. Like, you know what? they might do this and say, dang it, I don't want to be my own business owner. But guess what? Now they got all these tools, they got all these things, and they can take that and apply it to what they want to do next.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. And, because, we talk with kids, and, sometimes they're excited till they're not anymore. But regardless, there is foundational learning experiences for these kids that even if they don't start their own business someday, the things they're going to learn will serve them well in what path they choose.
Yep. And if it's done right, it will stick with them.
Exactly.
And the goal is to do it right.
So if all this is getting overwhelming for you, don't forget, call 211. And we'll be happy to
we can get you the information.
Sign it up and things like, because I know we're hitting you with a lot of dates and a lot of other things right now. But big thing is, if you want to be a part of the Health Expo, now's the time to sign up.
To get your booth.
Get your booth. Do that here before the end of the month. Otherwise, you're going to cost you a little bit more. Save you some money. Get it done this month. Get that locked in. Get that done. That way, Carrie and her staff don't have to. That's one less thing they got to work.
And
so do that. And then, of course, please reach out if you're interested in more about this entrepreneurship opportunity with your children, or if you have any more questions about the opioid meeting to learn about what to do with some of that funding. Again, my personal opinion, fix mental health, you fix opioid, just saying.
Well, and that's a lot of it. So
I point back
which
to
goes to
mental
these
health.
community health improvement plans, chips and salsa. We got to bring all that back into it.
And if you have any questions about that, 211.
211.
Or don't forget the Chaves County Health Council has a Facebook page. I highly recommend you like and follow it. And if you have any questions or anything there, you can, like if you're got something, I know some people have thoughts and over the phone. If you want to combine your thoughts and put them in paper form or in a text form, that would be awesome. We can do that.
Text, call, email, website. We're out there.
Yeah. And if you're wanting to know more about the Health Council, please reach out. They're always looking for more volunteers and people that want to get involved with the community. There's a lot of people that serve through the Health Council that they're doing it just because they want a good community. They may not necessarily be a healthcare expert or this expert, but by being in the room and helping out wherever they can, that's what they're doing. And Health Council needs all kinds of those.
And that's me. I have no background in healthcare at all. I do in food, but no healthcare.
She could cook you some mean sandwich, but she's not a doctor.
And I don't pretend to play one on TV
That's
either.
right, either. Didn't stay at the Holiday Express. Did not figure that one out. So awesome. Did we get it all?
I think we got it all.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks. And again, reach out 211. That's the be all catch all. Anything you want to know more about that you just don't understand, call 211. Please be mindful that's not a 24-hour hotline, so during business hours would be appreciated there.
Yep, or leave a voicemail.
And if you do have a medical emergency, 911 all the time. That's the number. Live it, learn it, live by it. That's the deal. So thank you very much. We'll see you here next time here.
All right.
We're going to pause for news and a quick break, and then on the other side, Meredith Hilder's going to join us with the City of Roswell. She's part of planning and zoning, talking about some events going on this week with the master plan and some things that we'd like to put on the public's radar. So she'll join us here in about 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Don't go away.
Now for your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Cirillo. Roswell police are investigating a crash late Thursday night that left one person dead and two others seriously wounded. It happened about 10 p.m. at Southeast Main and East Poe Streets. 47-year-old Sonia Linda Olivas is identified as the driver of a 2005 Toyota Avalon that police say ran a red light and struck a car at the intersection. Olivas was killed. Police shut down the intersection for about 2 hours to investigate. And a new women's health clinic is opening today in Artesia. Vibrant Women's Health Clinic is a new facility dedicated to comprehensive women's services. The clinic will serve patients from Artesia, Carlsbad, Roswell, and surrounding areas. It will be led by Dr. Scott Beard and nurse practitioner Lori Crockett. The opening of the Vibrant Women's Health Clinic is part of Artesia General Hospital's ongoing investment in expanding local health care access and ensuring that women in rural communities don't have to travel far for quality, specialized care. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our Progressive Finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners. Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in month's end.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Due to extreme pressure and weather conditions, it literally rains diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Stop snickering because I said Uranus. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 9:44, and joining us in studio this morning from the city of Roswell in the planning and zoning, Meredith Hildreth, back with us. She's been on this before, but she was wearing a slightly different hat, if y'all remember. That was her Friends of Bitter Lake hat. So when she's not doing city work, she's out at the Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge as well. And also joining us here as well is Carlos Galinda. Did I say that right? Gallina. Sorry, yeah. I wrote something down and said something different. Sorry about that.
You're okay.
Good morning here. Of course, we got a busy week here with master plan, this stuff that's going on. And so I'm going to shut my hole and kind of let you kind of give everyone an explanation of what's going on here with the master plan. And there's some events going on this week that let me say this. Everyone has thoughts on city and how you want to do things and how things go. And we love to share them on social media. Boy, howdy, do we love to share them. And that might be all well and good, but if you want to actually be in rooms with people and talk about things that actually might make an impact on changing to see the things you want to see, then you need to come to some of these events this week and maybe, lay off the Facebook a little bit. Because that so setting the table there, I'll kind of let you guys kind of take over from there.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, appreciate the visit.
Carlos, thank you for being here.
Good morning, everyone.
Carlos
thank
is
you.
One of our consultants with Able City, the company that is facilitating the master plan process and writing the master plan.
Kind of being the experts in the room on how, like when master plans need to be master planned, we're the people that plan the master plans, and we help cities and different entities navigate that stuff. Is that pretty safe?
Yeah, Mike, that's exactly right. So first of all, thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
What happens is that many people go about their day and they drive and they live and they work and they get super busy and they don't really have the time to really think about the city that they live in, right?
Sure.
In this case, it's Roswell and the neighborhood and their house. But the decisions that are made at the city level, at the state level, obviously at the federal level, impact people's lives every single day, right?
Absolutely.
Meredith's job as the city in the city and zoning, planning and zoning department is super important. And again, most people, they just drive the street and don't pay attention that these things, it's what we call the built environment. And the built environment is shaped by everyone, by where you choose to live, where you buy your house, where you shop, where you work. And so the comprehensive plan really is the opportunity for residents of Roswell to just step back for a minute.
Sure.
You're absolutely correct, right? There's a lot of opinions on Facebook and social media, and those are important, but it's equally important to make sure that people have an opportunity to think about these things in a way that people like Meredith and your city council and your policymakers are listening and paying attention. But really, just quickly, the comprehensive plan is at the end of the day, it's a document that outlines everything from transportation to housing in neighborhoods to infrastructure. There was a big flood last year.
Sure.
We need to address, we give you recommendations on how to mitigate the flood hazard issues.
Keep it from being a bigger issue the next time. This does
for
happen.
sure.
Yeah.
And so it's exactly what the word implies, comprehensive. So it looks at all these things holistically. And what we're doing this week is giving residents the opportunity. It's about a year-long process, and our group was here back in April, and they got really great coverage in the Roswell Daily. But what we're doing here this week is a little bit more intensive and purposeful, and again, giving people the opportunity to come to any one of these events. And again, the social media stuff is great, and we pay attention to that. But again, equally important
it's throwing things out there, but there's no constructive. Okay, what do we do about it? How do we address that? Is it really a need, or is that just you saying that?
Yeah, that's right.
And this is where these meetings are you're talking to people that actually impact what's going on here. And it's really deciding what's the vision. Where do you want this city to be in 10 years? Do you want it to have this, this, and this? Or maybe you don't.
Yeah, that's right.
But we need to find that out. And that's what this week's about.
This is a structured and methodical process. that's guided and facilitated and fun as well.
Well, and this is kind of getting back to what I always say about government versus private. If you want things done fast, the government is not going to be that person. Government is rather get it slow and right rather than fast. And you know, we're private; they deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about big picture, what we're going to need, like you said, it's not all right. We're going to come to meeting tomorrow. We're going to have all these magic things. No, we got to study. It takes years to figure this out. It takes a good year.
And
to
I
find
think
out what
our city has a lot of needs. Our neighborhoods, I feel like, have been neglected over time. And
well, things get old, things wear out, and sometimes you got to replace them.
And I think I wrote a paper on neighborhood stabilization and empowerment, a study for that. It was a part of a postmaster's program.
Okay.
And anyway, that has recommendations in it. It's a foundational piece, and Carlos has looked at it and so forth. So I think neighborhoods, housing, that's going to be a huge component.
Sure.
Economic development is going to be a huge component.
Well,
and we have this opportunity because of the national championship air races coming to town. And
we're gonna have to get big quick.
Yeah,
I feel like there's going to be way more investment in Roswell as it's discovered.
It's going to be messy, but it's going to lead to better things. We got it. We're going to have growing pains. That's the best word I can tell you. This year, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be growing pains. We're going to learn a lot of lessons, but it's going to make. And this is kind of the master plan in a bigger nutshell.
Sure.
And
that's
the same
exactly
kind of thing is. The city has ideas on the future and what we want to take it in. This is the public's opportunity to share with the city and saying and to really see, are we going in the right direction?
But
or do we need to pivot a bit?
It also incorporates city stakeholders as well into this process.
Gotcha.
So
yeah,
for sure.
if I can talk about that for a minute. So we invite the public tonight. We're kicking off our week. It's a design workshop week, charrette, what we call charrette. And so over the course of the next 4 days, we'll have a series of events. The first one kicks off today, Monday, May 12th, from 5 to 8 p.m. I know it seems like a long time, but what it is that we'll give you a quick presentation on urban planning and city planning issues, and then things that are important to Roswell, things that we've heard.
Sure.
And then we'll spend a good amount of time people drawing
open forum.
Yeah, for sure. People drawing
other voices
their vision, their ideas. So that's today from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Roswell Public Library.
Yeah. So if you want to, it behooves you to get there at 5 so you can hear the presentation stuff.
Yeah.
You may not be there till 8, depending on, if you got what you wanted to say out and I get it, life happens.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
at least be there and hear the beginning part and see where the direction is. And then you get, if you can, please stay and offer your own thoughts.
Yeah, Mike, that's exactly right. And then just to continue real quick, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have an open studio from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And anyone can drop by at any time, and that is at the SunWest Center, 500 North Main, Suite 100 on the first floor.
It's the big white building downtown here on 5th, and used to be, for people been here a minute, home of Bank of America. Everyone just called the Bank of America building, but it's a SunWest building. Yeah, when you go to Peppers, it's that building.
That's right.
It's that building.
When you're hungry and you want to go to Peppers, it's that building.
It's in the community.
It's great.
It's in the community development department in our conference room, and that's again from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week.
And that's a come and go. You don't have to make an appointment.
No,
you don't have
stop
to
by.
register.
We'll be drawing. We'll be thinking. We'll be meeting.
So if you're on your lunch break and you got a few minutes, you want to share some thoughts, come on in any of those 3 days.
And we would like you to bring your young people as well.
Yeah.
All ages are welcome.
Well, guess what? We get older. And guess what? The 16-year-olds, actually, to be honest, your children are probably going to be the ones that see the fruit of this labor.
That's exactly.
You know
so
what I'm
please,
saying? Yeah.
we want their voices. So please bring your children and 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, teens, tweens, young adults, please.
Well,
we want your input.
And that's a great perspective because we as adults forget what are kids looking for in the community. And it's not always just about building more playgrounds. Sometimes it's other things.
They often have really great ideas, too.
Absolutely. What comes from the minds of a child sometimes.
Yeah. And then, Mike, just to continue, and then on Wednesday, we have a lecture from 5:30 to 7 p.m., and that's also at the library. And the title of that is Resiliency Planning for the Future.
Okay.
It's focusing on, some best practices and then focusing on issues in Roswell. And then the final event on Thursday, May 15th, is we want the public to come back and see what we've done taken their ideas and illustrated them and drawn them and start thinking about these things. And then the process at the end culminates with Able City, our company, providing the city and the residents of Roswell a document that outlines all their visions, their hopes, their aspirations, their dreams in a way that makes sense for the policymakers.
Gotcha.
So, hey, listen, what can we do in the first year? What can we do in 5 years? What can we do in 10 years? And then there's going to be some stuff that is generational, as you mentioned, right? But if you don't talk about it, if you don't document it, then it's all sort of pie in the sky. And
you got to get it on the plan.
Yep.
And now we're making the plan. So if
For
you
sure.
want to be in on the plan, you got to be a part of the meetings and the things that decide what the plan's going to be.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And then we do have a website, propelroswell.com. And so you'll find a lot of information there as we start giving the city drafts on these different elements. People could go on there, but even go on there today, propelroswell.com.
Okay.
And you'll get information on the things that we've talked
Excellent.
about.
So that way, like for instance, you can't miss. You can't be at one of these informational meetings.
Right.
You're able to pick that information up here at propelroswell.com.
That's right. There'll be a survey there that we'll launch here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, but if you can be there, please
Yes,
be in the
for
room.
sure.
Like
It'll be
start
fun.
tonight. Come out to the library beginning at 5 p.m. Maybe grab dinner early or something, or grab a snack and then get dinner after, whatever. But kind of plan accordingly. And this is like if you've been saying Roswell needs this, or man, I wish we did it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Now's the time. Now's the talk about that. You know what? You might have an amazing idea that just didn't hit somebody.
Yep.
And now we're like, I never thought about that. Dang, let's look into that. Let's. You're right. That is dumb. We should fix this.
Yep.
And that's that's what these mean, and that's how we find these things out all the time.
Yeah.
Or you know what? That is a missing thing. We really should. That would be money well spent if we invest.
Another thing that the comprehensive master plan process does is it brings people together. And as a planner, I say that I connect dots. I connect people with resources and resources with people. And when you bring a lot of different people to the table, you're bringing a lot of different resources to the table. And leveraging those resources can be part of the master plan.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Well,
The
one
implementation.
thing begets one thing sometimes, and it's like, oh, we should do this. And someone says, well, that's not going to work. And someone says, wait a minute, I can do this and we can get that done. And that's how these things happen in meetings like this.
Yep.
It takes a community to implement a master plan.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. It's a big deal. Put it this way. This is what the city's going to decide in the direction it's going to go for the next 10 years here, or what, this is the future of Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we want to, if you want to see a certain thing, then you need to be actively involved in helping getting your opinion, your word out about that.
Absolutely.
Because if we don't know about it, it's not going to happen, and no one else thinks about it. I'm going to say there's probably an amazing idea that someone has out there that no one legitimately didn't think of.
Not just one, many.
Yeah, there's things like that. How we do this or how we do that. And it's like, you're right. We do overcomplicate this. That's a way simpler way to do it. But you can't do that unless we talk about it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So start tonight again at 5 o'clock, and then if you go to propelroswell.com, I'm going to imagine you can probably see a schedule of everything and what time. So if you miss some of these dates and times,
that's exactly right.
You can go back there and do that and do all that. And of course, if you do have any questions too, and then I would also invite this too is you have two city council represent you. Those are always open pipelines. If you have outside of these meetings and things here, I invite you to send emails to your elected officials to talk about it. Be professional, be kind. But there's a reason why you have two city councilors representing you in your district. They're there when you have these questions, these concerns. These are the people you bring them to so they can, address it one way or explain to you why it's that way.
Yep.
And so, use this week to this. But when this week's over and we're kind of, we're going back to whatever life's normal here. Use these facilities to don't wait till everyone gets up in arms about it to start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
Like talk about this stuff now while it's
be
happening.
proactive about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, everybody in this town wants the same thing, to be happy, healthy, and want the same for their kids and family and to do the next thing.
Right.
What exactly those details are, we don't know yet.
That's right.
Or we don't agree on or know the same. That's why we have the master plan.
Yeah.
So we can say, how do we all be happy, healthy, and want the best for everybody and the opportunities for them to do whatever they want where they're here. That's
a great point.
That's the goal we're trying to achieve here. So,
well, great.
And of course, you can always, if anybody has any questions, can they call like your office director?
Yeah,
they can always call City Hall and they can say, hey, planning, zoning, tell me, talk to Meredith.
Yes,
kind of thing.
course.
That's always works here. But if you do have kind of questions or something, I know people like to talk to humans sometimes and you get lost in the shuffle of the internet. call the planning and zoning office, and someone will be able to answer as many questions.
Right on. Yes.
And if you have any questions about anything at all, bring them with you tonight at 5 o'clock to the library, and we'll get them addressed here too. So
yeah. Awesome. So we will see the community this week. Events all week long. So starting tonight.
Think about it. This is it. This is where we're saying, hey, we're going to make a great community. What's your input on this? This is your opportunity. This is your chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace kind of mindset here a little bit.
Yeah, it's important that we get as many people out there and as many segments of the population so that we get varied opinions. Yeah.
People have opinions. I see them on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
Not the most constructive ways and most constructive opinions. I've seen those too, but you care. There's why you're there. Let's focus your care on good things, right things, things like that.
Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
guys
for
very
having us.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll, like I said, I'll look here and see if we can get you back later this week here.
Okay.
See what my times are here after we get off the air. But thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
thank
the
you.
mix-ups and all that. Too.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. It is 10 o'clock. That's about doing it for us. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Don't forget, if you missed any part of our show, you can catch it at your leisure. Log on to ksvptv.com. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Hamas says it